All heavens sign in from Naruto, Chapter 521 to 540. Chapter 521 _ The iceberg is about to melt. Leaving the first team's quarters, Yifeng immediately opened the perspective of Soul Eye. Under this third-person bug ability, Yifeng is like watching a movie, always observing the movements of Kurosaki Ichigo and the others. In the world of Reaper, watching Reaper anime is a bit magical. Nightwind shrugged, getting ready to launch Shunpo on the way. At this time, Broken Bee suddenly appeared on the roof opposite Yifeng. She looked at Yifeng coldly. Did not speak. Captain Broken Bee, is there something wrong? Yifeng asked. If it's all right, I have to hurry back and wait for the travel accident to come to the door. Maybe there are good-looking girls in the travel accident. You. Broken Bee glared at Yifeng, and then said. The underground of the Confession Palace is the nest of roundworms, which is very important. Therefore, I will arrange the deputy captain of the 2nd Division to guard it later. I hope your 9th Division can cooperate. Oh, let the vice captain of the 2nd Division guard the Ascaris nest in person. Yifeng looked at Broken Bee with a half-smiling smile and said, Aren't you worried that I will be killed by accident, so you deliberately killed you? Your lieutenant sent to protect me. Broken Bee saw Yifeng telling the truth. Her delicate body trembled slightly. Then he let out a cold hum. Humph, how could I be worried about you? I'm just worried about the nest of roundworms. Besides, it's useless to stay in the 2nd Division's jurisdiction for a rubbish like Omaeda. After the Broken Bee finished speaking. After launching Shunpo, he disappeared in front of Yifeng. Watching the back of the little girl go away, Yifeng smiled. The iceberg seems to have started to melt. Look. The little game between him and the warden of Luanju and the female prisoners will soon have new people participating. Back to the 9th squad. Yifeng simply arranged the daily work of the 9th Division. Then, he went directly to the Palace of Repentance, walked into Rukia's small room, and waited for Ichigo to close the door. Nightwind. What happened just now outside? Why did the alarm sound that the soul-shrouding membrane was breached? Invasion by calamity. The Nightwind entered the door. Rukia immediately greeted her impatiently. She was very worried that it was Ichigo and the others who were doing something. Well, as you thought, Ichigo and the others found Shiba Sora, and with her help, they had already invaded Seraiti from the air. They are now scattered in different places and are preparing to come to the Confession Palace. Robbery. Yifeng smiled indifferently. Actually, Ichigo is also very poor. Urahara Kazuki and Sefenjin Yaiki are both veteran captains of the Soul Society. Especially Saifeng Yuan Knight 1. She is the previous generation head of the 4 aristocratic Saifeng Yuan family. They are very aware of the background of Seoringe. So, even if Kurosaki Ichigo can become stronger with kryptonite. But, it's impossible to save Rukia with just a few of them. In the original plot. If it weren't for Aizen's betrayal at the end. Ichigo Kurosaki and the others are afraid that they will directly explain in the Soul Society. So, Urahara Kazuki deliberately exposed Kuchiki Rukia and then sent Ichigo to save people. This behavior seems to Yifeng. It should be forcing Aizen to do it. In the end, Urahara Kazuki was very clear in his heart. An opponent like Aizen. It is impossible not to see through his layout. So, when Kurosaki Ichigo made a fuss about Seraiti, Aizen will definitely act for various reasons. So, as long as there is action, there are bound to be flaws. By the time, Saifeng Yuan will use her favor every night. Ask for help from the 2 veteran captains, Shiruro Yukitaki and Chunsui Kyoraku. By the time, Rukia doesn't need to die. Aizen's true face will also be revealed in public. Kurosaki Ichigo and the others will not be dealt with as a travel accident. This game. Urahara Kazuki's layout is perfect. Of course. Urahara Kazuki also knew that Aizen must have seen through all this long ago. So, What the two of them laid out was a conspiracy. The two are actually not weaker than each other in terms of layout. But it's a pity. Soul World is Aizen's home field. Urahara Kazuki was only remotely controlled after all, and in the end it was a bad move. Night Wind. You must stop them. They managed to escape last time, why are they coming again? Don't they know they're going to die here? Rukia pulled Yifeng's arm anxiously. She wanted to go out and tell Ichigo. Let them stop wasting time. She is a sinner. No one could save her from the realm of souls. And she also didn't want her companions to save her at the cost of her life. Rukia, I think you should also be aware of Ichigo Kurisaki's character, he won't give up easily. Yifeng shook his head and comforted, but don't worry, if things really change it's irreversible, I'll take action, don't worry. Although all the plots are happening according to Yifeng's familiar script. But Yifeng did not dare to say that things would definitely happen smoothly. So Yifeng was already mentally prepared. If Rukia is really in danger, he will save Rukia. Will not let her die here. As for the future, Yifeng was not particularly concerned. To be honest, either Aizen, Seorangte, or Invisible Empire, Yifeng didn't particularly care about these forces. After all, they are just some small forces of Yifeng in the heavens and the world. Yifeng only cares about those girls who have a good impression on him. Otherwise, what is the meaning of this world? Yifeng, why did things become like this? Am I really a disaster? Rukia lowered her head with dark eyes. She thought about it all her life. Full of sadness. What is it, Rukia? The enchanting Yuhi face is a curse. Do you think a young boy like you is qualified to be called a curse? Yifeng chuckled. You. Rukia was about to get angry when she heard this. But then, she lowered her head bleakly. Yifeng, thank you, I still want to tease me at this time, so that I won't be so lost, but I really can't be happy. Rukia shook her head. Feeling life is difficult. But Yifeng dragged Rukia's chin up seriously, looked into her eyes solemnly, and said lightly. Rukia, who said I'm making fun of you? You're so flat, the first time I saw you, I thought you were a cute little brother. Yifeng said while looking at Rukia with his eyes. Then Tisk Tisk shook his head. This move finally made Rukia break the defense. Asshole. At this time, you still dare to make jokes about the old lady. Looks like you're really a scumbag. Be firm. Rukia finally became Q-like. Kiba teeth are sharp like sharks. Very cute. Chapter 522_Moon Kiba Sky Chong. Quote. And say I'm a scumbag. But am I slacking you? Why do you call me scum? Yifeng shrugged indifferently. He always thought he was not a scumbag. It's called fraternity. Of course. If Rukia knew of his idea, she would probably think Yifeng was even more scumbag. Although you haven't really slapped me. But dare you say that you never thought about scolding me? Say it. Rukia continued to ask loudly. Saying this, Yifeng suddenly walked up to Rukia, raised his hand and arranged a head-touching kill on her small head. I've always wanted to slap you and give it a try. Try it and talk about it later when you have a chance. Quote. The voice fell. Rukia's Q version status suddenly disappeared. Lowly and a bit of a royal sister has been restored. What did you say? A breeze was blowing outside the window. Rukia's jet black hair blew up. She was just joking with Yifeng. But did not expect. Yifeng actually admitted. This moment, Rukia's favorability towards Yifeng directly increased to 85 points. To this, Yifeng nodded with a smile but not a smile, and muttered, forget it, I'll talk about it in the future. I don't know who comes first between you and the broken bee. No way. It's all Lori. It's so hard to choose. ... Just when Yifeng stayed in Rukia's cell to help her out. The various teams outside have become a mess of porridge. Be honest. Judging from the incident of this travel disaster, the security work in Seoul society is really bad. Don't say anything else. Surveillance is simply terrible. Yifeng said it was very difficult to understand. The Seoul realm is obviously the most superior space in the three realms. Why is the process of modernization even slower than in the present world? Possible. This is the metaphysics that hinders the progress of science. Just like the Hokage world. It has developed over the years. Even the daimyo lord system has been maintained. A lagging horse. In other words, Yifeng's 9-year compulsory education has laid a solid foundation. This has brought progress to the ninja world. But the world of death is different. People in Hokage don't know that there is an advanced social form, so they can't do anything about it. The god of death obviously grew up watching the world. But it is not learning and not progressing. No one can do this. ... Time flows like water. Passed by. Finally. Almost everything that should have happened has already happened. Yifeng saw Kurosaki Ichigo holding a black cat in the eyes of Soul Eye. Approaching the Palace of Penance quickly. Ding. It has been detected that the travel calamity has invaded the door of the Shrine of Penance. It is detected that the host has arrived at Rukia Kuchiki. Start signing in. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ding. Congratulations to the host for completing the sign-in. Get Reward 1. Blood Suit Ultimate. Reward 2. Ghost Road Ultimate. Ring Zhuan Grandmaster. The system sound fell. Yifeng felt that his ability to control the quilter's active blood and static blood was indeed enhanced again. The same is true of ghosts. Nightwind believes. With his current strength, a rush can almost crush most death gods. As for the ringing, Hibiki is similar to Shunpo, but there are essential differences. Ringing is a spatial movement. It belongs to the category of space power. But just that the speed of the Grandmaster level is not particularly fast. But if after reaching ultimate, should be faster than Horaishin. Rukia, it looks like the members of the outer sect 9th division are about to lose their grip. It's time for me to go out and deal with their problems. Yifeng shrugged. Anyway, Yifeng is the acting captain of the 9th division. He wouldn't let things like prison robbery happen. Not to mention, Aizen wouldn't let Ichigo and the others really take Rukia out of the soul world. In order to avoid outgrowths, Nightwind thinks it is more appropriate to arrange according to the script. Yifeng, please don't hurt Ichigo, after all, he is also kind. Rukia pleaded with Yifeng in a complicated mood. She had just seen through the window Ichigo Kurosaki, who was fighting the 9th division outside the Shrine of Repentance. Well, don't worry, I'm measured. Nightwing nodded. Subsequently, out of the cell. ... Hello. You guys, I don't want to kill you. Quickly make way for me. Although Kurosaki Ichigo is not a grandmaster at all. But with his amazing Reiatsu and keen reflexes, he has successfully defeated the Shinigami team outside the Confession Palace. But the members of the 9th division are not cowards either. Although they were not the opponents of Kurosaki Ichigo, they still climbed up from the ground tenaciously again and again and blocked the entrance of the Repentance Palace. After all, it is their mission to guard this gate. Travel disaster. Don't be delusional. We won't let you through here. Look at this group of death gods who swear to stick to their posts. Kurosaki Ichigo narrowed his eyes slightly and said in a condensed voice, I must save Rukia. If you don't give way, then don't blame me. The voice fell. Ichigo raised Zanpakuto in his hands high. A terrifying spiritual pressure burst out of the body. Like a tsunami. Let the sky tremble. Moon Kiba sky rushes. Boom. A spiritual light blade in the shape of a moon Kiba shot out from Zanpakuto, as if it could tear apart the void, and swooped towards the members of the 9th division. Seeing this extremely fast, wide coverage, and extremely powerful slash, the members of the ninth squad were instantly dumbfounded. None of them even had a chairperson. Kurosaki Ichigo's ultimate move that is impossible to resist at this stage. However, just at this time, Yifeng's figure suddenly blocked in front of them. Boom! Yifeng raised his hand and pointed, and a thunderbolt as thick as a bucket shot out, directly tearing apart Ichigo's Moon Kiba Skychong. What is this? Ichigo Kurosaki watched as the ultimate move he cultivated was shattered by Yifeng's finger. He was all stupid. An unbelievable look appeared on his face. Deputy Captain Yifeng. Thank you for the assistance of Vice Captain Yifeng. What was that move just now? It doesn't seem to be the ability of Yifeng Vice Captain Zanpakuto, right? That's Bailei. Don't make trouble, can your Bailei be so rough? Who is making trouble? Vice Captain Yifeng's rush is so rough, isn't it normal for Bailei to be rough at all? Comes with the night wind. A big stone in the hearts of the members of the 9th Division finally landed safely. Although Yifeng's popularity in the 9th Division is still not high, but the strength is definitely not to say. Chapter 523_Tonight, let's transform. A murmur. Is this what you have cultivated at Kazuki Urahara these days? Did you forget to recharge? Too weak. Yifeng looked at Kurosaki Ichigo and smiled. The current Ichigo is basically a trick, Moon Kiba Tianchong, to break into the world. One trick to eat all over the sky. Although the effect is good. But it was still too weak for Yifeng. In fact, the current Kurosaki Ichigo is not really kryptonite. Like Zanyu, Shiro Ichigo, Bankai, none of these are available yet. So, at the moment he was at the level of a weaker vice captain in the Gotei 13 team. Yamanaka Yifeng, I heard from the store manager that you are also Rukia's friend, so why did you stop us from saving her? Do you want to watch her die in the soul world? Kurosaki Ichigo Shangyi the Wind questioned. Urahara Kazuki knew a little about the relationship between Yifeng and Rukia. So, he specifically instructed Guo Yihu that if he encounters Yifeng, try his best to play emotional cards with him. But it's a pity. Yifeng said that he had nothing to talk about with his little brother. Yiji, don't you really think that with your current strength, you can save Rukia from the Soul Realm? Yifeng shrugged. To be frank, although in the original plot, Kurosaki Ichigo defeated Zaraki Kenpachi and Kuchiki Byakuya successively. But, actually, the captains of Gotei 13 are all very strong. The reason why they were defeated by Ichigo in the original plot was probably forcibly weakened by an unknown force. Without that power, it is definitely not that easy for Ichigo to defeat Zaragi Kenpachi and Kuchiki Byakuya. Neither does kryptonite. Yichi, it seems that we have no choice. Since Yamanaka Yifeng insists on not retreating, we can only fight with him. Kurosaki Ichigo said to the black cat in his arms. Ichigo, don't be careless, this guy is very strong, you should not be his opponent now, let's retreat strategically first. The black cat jumped on Ichigo's shoulder. The eyes are slightly dignified. Because the strength revealed by Yifeng's shot of Bailei just now made Yi feel a little terrified. No, we came to this place with great difficulty. How can we retreat now? Kurosaki Ichigo looked at Yoichi and said, besides, isn't the purpose of our coming here to save Rukia? She's in this building now, there's no reason for us to back off. Kurosaki Ichigo's mentality is actually very simple. If you can beat it, you have to fight, but if you can't beat it, you have to fight. Then, after he finished speaking, he immediately held a big knife and slashed towards Yifeng's head. This knife is like a rainbow. But it's totally useless. Yifeng raised a finger and blocked Kurosaki Ichigo's slash lightly. Subsequently, a golden current flows along Yifeng's fingers. Broken Road 11. Lightning. Golden yellow lightning flowed into his body along Kurosaki Ichigo's blade. Sizzle. Ichigo's orange hair stood on end. Obviously. This shock therapy is not that comfortable. After being hit by a guard, Yifeng knocked him out with a punch. Yi and Sifeng Yuan, it's time like this, don't you plan to show your true body? Yifeng glanced at the black cat next to him with a half smile, and said lightly. Although I don't particularly want to arrest you, if I don't have a suitable excuse, it's not very convenient for me to let you go, right? Everything has to be reasonable. Kurosaki Ichigo couldn't even last a round under Yifeng's hands. If Yifeng just let them go. Afterwards. It does get a little tricky to explain. The soul is weak. Do you know what showing up means to Yi? Don't go too far. Ichigo Kurosaki stood up dragging his sword. In the present world, Yoichi changed from cat back to human form. But when Yi changed from a human to a cat, the clothes would fall on the ground. What does it look like when it changed back? Needless to say. Although Yi is a heroic woman. But in Ichigo's view, Yifeng wants to transform Yi, which is a very unreasonable request. Then, Kurosaki Ichigo charged Yekas with his sword again. Brush brush. A thief slipped by a big sword. Kakuzu, who is the night wind, couldn't touch it. Boom. Yifeng raised his leg and kicked Ichigo out again. Ichigo's mentality collapsed a bit. Damn. Why is it that I have tried my best, but I am still not his opponent? Kurosaki Ichigo let out a growl. He doesn't understand. He has clearly mastered the power of death that belongs to him. He clearly practiced a powerful move like Yukiba Tianchong. Urahara Kazuki also clearly stated that he would definitely be able to complete this mission. But why? When he faced Yifeng, he was full of powerlessness. Well, a murmur, in fact, this is not your problem, you don't need to doubt yourself. Yifeng shook his head and said in an encouraging tone. Actually, even if Kazuki Urahara came over in person, he wouldn't be able to cut me, so don't belittle yourself, you are not as weak as you think. Then, with the warm encouragement of Yifeng, Kurosaki Ichigo suddenly went blank in his mind. This is not my problem. And we are all spicy chickens, right? Is this guy really that strong? Is it? Am I really unable to save Rukia? Is Rukia really going to die? Ichigo, let's go. Let's retreat strategically, we still have a chance. Yi seemed to feel that Ichigo's spirit was a little abnormal, and she quickly jumped on Ichigo's shoulder, wanting to take him out of here first. To be honest, Ichigo's role is to make troubles in Seirenge. Urahara Kazuki and Sefenjin Yoichi didn't expect them to really rescue Rukia. But, under Yi's words of persuasion, Ichigo's mood became more complicated. His pupils contracted. There seemed to be a sudden flash of light in my mind. If Yifeng could see this scene, he must have understood immediately. This is the son of luck to Krypton Gold. Then, almost in an instant, a very strange voice appeared in Kurosaki Ichigo's mind. The sound is gloomy, full of inductiveness. Immediately after, a strange black reiatsu burst out from Kurosaki Ichigo's body instantly. Wrapped his entire body. Then, Kurosaki Ichigo screamed in the sky. After a terrifying cry, a white mask began to appear on his face. With the advent of masks, the strange voice in Ichigo's mind also became clearer. Chapter 524_hang and beat false white. He. Is this not going to work? Don't worry, you still have me, I can bring you power, do you want to use my power? I can help you easily defeat the man in front of you. Inspired by this voice, Ichigo recalled the scene where he was cut off by Yifeng with a sword in the present world. And after that, with the help of Urahara Kazuki and through his own efforts, Ichigo regained the power of the god of death. And now, he was so utterly defeated. He was not reconciled. He wants to gain more power. Power. Give me strength. Give me the power to defeat Yamanaka Yekas. Kurosaki Ichigo knew that there must be something wrong with the owner of that voice. But, in order to be able to defeat the Night Wind, in order to save Rukia, he doesn't want to think so much anymore. Very well, it's normal to have this desire for strength, then leave your body to me to use. The Dao Senran voice fell. Whole body white. Shiro Ichigo with a bewitching look in his pupils appeared in front of Kurosaki Ichigo. Immediately after, Ichigo felt an incomparable power of Pungbai welling up in the depths of his soul. And then, his body lost control. Although this process may seem lengthy, but, in the real world, it only took 2 breaths to pass. Subsequently, Kurosaki Ichigo raised his head again and threw the yoichi on his shoulders aside, and a complete virtual mask appeared on Ichigo's face. And at the same time, Gai laughter from his mouth that made people feel terrible. Yamanaka Yefeng, speaking of which, I really want to thank you for letting me come out so quickly. Are you ready to die? How do you want to die? I don't understand gentleness. Look at this strange scene in front of you. In Yi-Yi's pair of cat pupils, the brilliance kept flashing. What's happening here? Is this fictitious? When did Ichigo learn to blur? Could it be that Hirako Mako secretly looked for Ichigo? It's not right. Although the ghost can make the god of death merge with the power of the virtual, but the spirit will not enter this state of chaos. What the hell is going on with him? Kazuki. What kind of power is hidden in this kid's body? Although Sefenjin Yoichi knew that Kurosaki Ichigo was special. But Urahara Kazuki didn't explain it very clearly to Yoichi. She was also a little confused. When the sky is clear, the rain stops, and it turns white, do you think you can do it again? Yifeng smiled faintly. He didn't take the blurred Shiro Ichigo in his eyes at all. But he was also curious about the power that Ichigo could burst out. Just like Ichigo's move to defeat Aizen, Wuyu. Yifeng was curious as to what level of power that move contained. To be honest, this mentality is somewhat similar to Aizen. Days without challenges are boring. So, sometimes Yifeng is thinking too. Someday, will he become a villain in a certain plane? Yamanaka Night Wind. In the face of my power, you dare to lose your mind. I think you are already impatient, right? Take advantage of the night wind to wander. Shubai instantly appeared in front of Yifeng. Swish. Although Ichigo's Zanpakuto can't Bankai yet. But the power of Zubai's slash is several times stronger than that of Ichigo. Slashed with a knife. Contains infinite murder. The brilliance blooms on the blade, like the supreme sword, everything can be cut off. Clang. In the face of such a ferocious attack. Finally pulled out his Zanpakuto. Toru and Zanyu collided. An earth-shattering metal clash sounded. At the same time, a series of terrifying fluctuations quickly spread around the two people. Megatron 10 directions. At this time, Shubai suddenly laughed. He said indifferently, Ichigo, you have shown me clearly, that's how Kiba Tianchang should be used. The phony voice fell. A solid moon Kiba sky burst out from his big sword. This month, Kiba is not as big as Ichigo. But spiritual power is incomparably condensed. It exudes a terrifying aura. See this scene. The members of the 9th Division who were watching the lively around were all dumbfounded. Such a terrifying move is released at close range. Even the night wind. I guess it's too late to dodge. Boom. The terrifying moon Kiba collided with Dito. There was an astonishing explosion. The deafening sound made the void tremble. But still useless. Tisk tisk. Power is indeed quite objective. But void. Don't you know that any move is nothing but a Reiatsu confrontation? Yifeng's voice fell. A faint smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Moon Kiba sky rushes. Boom. A month-like Kiba soared into the sky. The difference is, the night wind, the moon, Kiba is black. It passed through Zanpakuto in Shiro Ichigo's hand, and slashed directly into Shiro Ichigo's chest. Puff! Bai Yihu's eyes widened, as if seeing something impossible. Like an offline kite. He was slashed by Yifeng and flew out. On the chest. Blood poured out. Cracks like spider webs appeared on the mask. It was obviously an unimaginable hit. How is that possible? How could there be a god of death stronger than me in this world? Zubai struggled to stand up from the ground, but then stumbled and fell again. So shocked. You don't really think you are strong, do you? Yifeng looked at Bai Yihu with a half-smiling smile, and said, I probably did a mental calculation. In this soul realm, power can crush you. There seems to be quite a few gods of death. Quote. Shubai made an unwilling voice. The current virtual white is not the white Ichigo who brought the bull's head after Krypton Gold. The virtual white is just an experiment of blue dye. Although he is also very strong. But it's actually limited. Yifeng's voice fell. He disappeared from the spot in an instant. This kind of speed made Yifeng, who owned the instant god, astonished. Crap. The moment Zubai saw Yifeng disappear, a sense of horror suddenly occurred in his heart. He quickly grabbed Zanyu. Want to protect the mask. But Yifeng's punch was completely unreasonable. He slammed directly into Zubai's face. Boom. After a terrifying explosion, Zubai's head sank directly into the ground. Immediately after, Yifeng grabbed Zubai's ankle and lifted him up from the pit. Like Hulk smashing Loki, he sat down and swayed happily. Finally, after a while, Zubai let out a groan. There was a clicking sound on the bone mask on his face. The mask shattered directly into powder. Chapter 525_Lei Miao Battleheim. See this scene. Yifeng shook his head sullenly and threw Ichigo out. It's boring. That means as if to say, I just tried hard, but you can't do it. It is said that Krypton can become stronger. At this time, the members of the 9th Division were very discerning and wanted to rush up to catch Ichigo, who could not afford to fall to the ground. After all, this guy just abused them. As long as you put him in jail, some projects will be arranged for him in the future. Then, finally, Yi couldn't hold back any longer. Yi knew that if she didn't act again, Ichigo might be really cold. Then, Siphon Yuan Yi regained his human form in an instant. Then, she launched a high-speed shunpo. In an instant, all the members of the 9th team were knocked out. As expected of an instant night. Tisk tisk tisk, as expected of the woman who makes broken be crazy, you were really bold. Yifeng looked at Yi unscrupulously, but, are you really going to fight me like this? Yifeng admired the scenery in front of him. There was no sign of wanting to avoid suspicion at all. To be honest, Yi, the girl without clothes, doesn't care. He doesn't even need to care about this handsome man who appreciates the scenery. It's over. But, seeing the moving thing in front of Yi's body, Yifeng felt that the other party might be using cesium lure on him. The nature is a bit nasty. In the face of Yifeng's ridicule and unbridled gaze, Siphon Yuan Yijun didn't care too much. She launched a high-speed shunpo again. However, they did not attack Yifeng. To be honest, Yi couldn't really rush up with a pair of shaking things like that. After all, hitting someone with the ball is a foul. Then, she first grabbed a Death Tyrant outfit from the members of the 9th Division. Put on the body. Although it cannot be completely covered. And there's a vacuum inside. But it's still much better than it was before. Dead brat. Have you seen enough? I'm going. Siphon Yuan Yi was finally about to get angry. She drank softly. Instant coax start. Under the influence of the spiritual pressure, mountains pile up. The waves surge. In other words, Yifeng is a man who has seen a lot of great things in the world. Otherwise, it is really possible that he would be affected by this move. Drink. Yi Yi rushed towards Yi Feng at an extremely high speed, and there was even a sonic boom in the air. But, even though the speed of the night is very fast, but in front of Yi Feng, it was not worth mentioning. He opened his palm, directly squeezed Yi Yi's fist, pulled her hard, and took her into his arms. Yi Yi, it is actually very unwise to choose melee tactics in front of me. Yi Yi felt that her soft body plunged into Yi Feng's arms. Immediately shivered. It's like someone stepped on a cat's tail. Her hair stood on end instantly. Break free from Yi Feng's embrace. Damn brat, you even dare to take advantage of the old lady. Yi Yi glared at Yi Feng fiercely. But she could feel that Yi Feng didn't seem to be very serious. If not, it shouldn't be as simple as pulling it into your arms just now. Of course, the cheapness that comes to the door doesn't take up the white or the white. Yi Feng looked at Yi Yi with a half smile. Be honest. Yi Feng was not particularly cold to Yi Yi. Although Yi Yi's figure is very powerful, the appearance is not low. But Yi Yi's complexion is too heavy. Damn. I originally wanted to leave here with Ichigo, but since you have this attitude, I will teach you a lesson. Night 1 Silver Kiba bites. The spiritual pressure in the body erupted again. In an instant, Yi Yi's appearance has undergone an interesting change in vein. A pair of horns like cat ears suddenly appeared on her head. A tail appeared behind him, turned into the appearance of a beast-eared girl. But this beast-eared girl is not ordinary. She was covered in fiery lightning all over her body, like wearing a layer of thunder coat on her hands and feet. It even condensed 4 sharp cat claws composed of thunder and lightning. It looks sharp. This is Sifeng Yuan Yi's strongest state. Lei Miao. Yi Feng looked at Yi Yi curiously. He seemed to remember that Yi Yi's ultimate move was like this, but forgot the name. Little Devil. This move is called Shunko Thunder Beast Battle Form Black Cat Battle Heim. At this time, the state of Sifeng Yuan Yi was completely different from before. In Thundercat vs. Heim mode, Yi Yi was like a violent thunder god of war. She was going to use this strongest move to defeat Yi Feng. Get back her self-esteem that Yi Feng has just trampled on. Let Yi Feng also experience the feeling of being humiliated. Then, Yi Yi rushed towards Yi Feng again, ready to swing with Yi Feng more violently. Have to say, although the transformation of Yi Yi's hand seems a bit funny, but after she turned into this form, her speed really reached the ultimate, and it was almost the same as Yi Feng. Whoosh whoosh. Thundercats and Heim didn't shoot directly. Her figure swiftly revolved around Yi Feng. Around the night wind, a trail of afterimages flickered. It felt as if Yi Yi had activated a multiple shadow clone technique. Next second, countless afterimages of Yi Yi shot at Yi Feng at the same time. Just see. The lightning flashes, and the radiance soars into the sky. The dazzling thunder and lightning were like a tsunami. The waves are surging, pressed towards the night wind cover. Yi Feng looked at the thunder that was unleashed by Sifeng Yuan Yi. A smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Subsequently, the spiritual pressure in Yi Feng's body erupted, and white, high-concentration ghost paths radiated out like spirals, and at the same time, the death tyrant on his shoulders and back instantly shattered. Next second, Yi Feng raised his fingers a little bit toward the left front. This is not a ghost. Just simply condensing the Reiki at the fingertips. Whoosh. Yi Feng pointed in the middle of Yi Yi's sky. Seems ordinary. But it happened to hit Yi Yi's chest. Ah! Yi Yi's pupils shrank, let out a scream, and hurried back to Yi Hu's side, spitting out a mouthful of blood. You! How can you be so quick to coax? Yi Yi asked herself that her speed just now had reached the ultimate. But she never thought of it. Yi Feng could still see through the traces of her move at a glance. And why did Yi Feng use the instant coax she developed? It's not that easy for her to learn, is it? To be able to sense the danger posed by my counterattack while attacking rapidly, and then dodge in an instant, avoiding most of the strength of my attack, as expected of Shunjin Yaichi. Yifeng nodded towards Yi Yi with a certain expression on his face. This scene made Yi Yi feel a little nervous. Did I make you compliment me? She was almost pressed and rubbed by Yifeng, but Yifeng still praised her. This is too contemptible, isn't it? Chapter 526 This familiar feeling. Instant coaxing is a combination of white fights and ghosts. The user's back and shoulders will be wrapped by the highly compressed ghosts. Through explosions, the ghosts and their own hands and feet will be combined to fight. Combined with the high-speed shunpo, it can exert a very considerable lethality. And Yifeng's white attack itself is very strong. Now, he even started the ultimate level ghost way. So, after watching Yi Yi's instant coax, he probably already understood the principle of use. After trying it out, although Yifeng felt that the combat power of Shunko's dialogue had improved, but the characteristics of destroying the clothes made Yifeng feel a little incompetent. So, this trick is still the patent of the girl. Then, Yifeng put away the instant coax form. In front of Yi Yi's face, he changed into a brand new Death Tyrant outfit. If you were angry because I saw it, then you have seen it just now, can you calm down now? Yifeng smiled faintly. Subsequently, the figure disappeared in place. The 99 of the Tao, forbidden. Saifeng Yuan Yi Yi heard Yifeng's teasing. I wanted to be sarcastic. But, when she suddenly heard Yifeng's voice ringing in her ears, Yi Yi's face changed suddenly. Subsequently, she felt a belt made of super high concentration of spiritual power bound her hands and feet, and was fixed to the ground by nails that exuded terrifying spiritual pressure. This is number 99's binding road. You can actually use number 99's binding road without chanting. There are only numbers 1 to 99 for broken and bound roads. Number 99 is already considered the pinnacle of ghost realms. And like forbidden, the rank is bound. Not to mention giving up singing. Even if Yi Yi is fully chanted, it does not have the power of Yifeng. In fact, so far, Yoichi has only seen Kazuki Urahara and Garashi Tetsusai give up the chant using this serial number. But, they also can't exert the power of Yifeng's. So, didn't this kid say he just entered the business? Don't you mean novice? Why is it like an old driver? Damn. Break it for me. Even though Yi Yi was shocked in his heart. But, she also knew that now was not the time to be shocked. If she was really caught by Yifeng, so, the consequences will be unimaginable. So, Yi Yi struggled all over his body, and the violent thunder on his body exploded again and again, trying to forcibly break free from the shackles of Yifeng's ban. But, this is doomed to be futile. It seems that you're still a little bit restless, but it's easy for women to become restless, and I can understand that. Nightwind shrugged. Subsequently, he raised his hand and lightly touched Yi Yi's forehead. The 99th of the Tao of Bounds, the second part, the forbidden, the first song, and the stretching. Yifeng's voice fell. Ultimate, ghost spirit pressure instantly turned into an unstoppable strip of cloth, tightly wrapping Yi Yi. Swastika not only blocked Yi Yi's actions, it also blocked her spiritual pressure. Let Yi Yi regain her enchanting girl form. You've even mastered the ghost way of swastika. How did you learn it? Yi Yi was shocked. Number 99 bondage road is divided into 2 stages. Forbidden is just the primary form of this move. Swastika is the second form. The swastika is divided into 3 parts. Yifeng calmed down Yi Yi with just the first song. That's right, calm down first and let me think about what we should do next. Yifeng frowned and pinched Yi Yi's chin. To be frank, Yifeng's suppression of Yi Yi was just a temporary intention. He didn't particularly want to do Night 1 himself. So, by now, Yifeng turned into 2 men advancing and retreating. True. Yifeng can choose to arrest Yi and Yihu in the Palace of Confession and imprison them. Be his prisoner. But, after all, Ichigo Kurosaki, a silly white sweet, came to rescue Rukia with good intentions. All hit. It's a bit inhumane to lock it up again. And locked up and interrogated. Too much trouble. But it doesn't seem right to let them go. After all, it has reached this point. It would be too deliberate to let it go now. Afterwards, Yifeng had to go to the commander-in-chief to explain it. Yifeng didn't want to make his life too troublesome. Then, just when the night wind is in trouble, a slightly cold figure appeared on the roof opposite Yifeng. Huh. 2 Jinchuriki column suns. I don't know if it's the night wind's illusion. This moment, Yifeng seems to have seen the lovely Uchiha Sasuke from the scriptures. A breeze blows. The scorching sun shone on the proud figure. That temperament is definitely a firm grasp of the feeling of the 2nd Jinchuriki column sun. Even felt that his voice was a bit like a Jinchuriki column sun. Very good, since you defeated Ichigo and Yoichi, then you already have the qualifications to face me with this lore. That's right. The person who came to pretend was Yulong Ishida, the genius of the quencher. He pushed the glasses on the bridge of his nose. A faint light reflected on the mirror. Full of style. Actually, according to the original plan of the night, Ishida Yulong's mission is not to come to the Repentance Palace to save people. His role is to bring Chadu Taihu and Inoue Oriheim to attract the attention of other squads. Disrupting Sarange. That is, cannon fodder in the conventional sense. But, in the eyes of Yulong's little genius, how could his proud Quincy become a cannon fodder to attract firepower? This hurt his self-esteem quite a bit. So, after defeating some of the Grim Reaper players, he rushed to the Palace of Penance with his newly learned flying feet. Want to join in the fun? It seems that I came on time. In this way, can it be considered that I saved Rukia, Ichigo, Yuichi, and the 3 at the same time? Ishida Yulong smiled faintly. Point your toes. Falling on the opposite side of the night wind. Huh. Is that you? Yifeng looked at Ishida Yulong. A meaningful look appeared on his face. Have to say, Ishida Yulong came very timely. Yifeng felt that it was necessary for him to control himself. Otherwise, in case of too much force, and then Ishida Yulong Yi was defeated, wouldn't the protagonist group be wiped out in his hands? This is so cruel. Then, Yifeng used the reply method to first rescue the 2 Reaper soldiers who had been knocked unconscious by Yi. Let them come as a witness. Ah. Vice Captain Yifeng, what's going on? Why do you feel a little pain in your neck? Idiot. We must have been attacked by the enemy. Enemy. Ah, it seems that those 2 enemies were defeated by Captain Yifeng. Beep. The 2 death warriors who were rescued by Yifeng first gave Yifeng some commercial touts. Then, started to float. Chapter 527_Quincy, so scary. Deputy Captain Yifeng. This little white face with such a stinky fart, or else leave it to us to clean up. That's it. Look at his small body, he should be a weak chicken, we'll just do it. Hear such remarks. Ishida Yulong's eyes twitched directly. Little white face. Small body. Weak chicken. Although the first 2 can barely be said in the past, he absolutely cannot allow the 3rd item, because this is the bottom line of a man. Then, Ishida Yulong was about to get angry. At this time, Yifeng began to seriously criticize the 2 players behind him. Do you 2 understand? They are Quincy exterminators, Yifeng said with a dignified expression like a kiwi. They are all a very scary family. Ah, Quincy. It seems like I haven't heard of it for a long time. Player A beeped. However, this guy hasn't been defeated by Vice Captain Yifeng, and he was able to hold on for so long. He may really be a master, and he can't be careless. Team member Yi nodded solemnly. Okay, You go and wake up the others first, I'll just deal with him. Yifeng commanded them with some disgust. Okay, Vice Captain Yifeng. At this time, Ishida Yuryu, who was watching the performance, felt like his self-esteem had been severely hit. Yes. He has now mastered the strongest form of Quincy. It should be the strongest Quincy in theory. He felt that he could definitely defeat the captain of the Gote 13. But I haven't made it public yet. Why do you think I am so scary? His most recent record seems to be the one that was beaten by Yifeng in the present world, right? Does that mean he's scary? Is this ironic? Unacceptable. Yamanaka Yifeng, how dare you look down on me? I will make you pay the price you deserve. Ishida Yulong raised his left hand in a low voice, untied the loose spirit glove on his hand. 3 years, Hedo-san 10 years in Hexi. Don't bully the weak. Quote. In an instant, a majestic spiritual pressure rose into the sky. Ishida Yulong proved that he is actually very strong with practical actions. It's really scary. The two members of the 9th Division swallowed together. He looked at Yulong Ishida, who had transformed into the final form of Quincy Exterminator, with a look of surprise. The two of you should bring the others into the Palace of Repentance first, and I'll take care of this terrifying Quincy Exterminator. Yifeng turned his head and instructed. Vice Captain Yifeng, we are not people who are afraid of death. Player A said. Don't make trouble, it's not a matter of greed for life and fear of death, but if we stay here, it will definitely distract Vice Captain Yifeng. Team B said very forcefully. Then, all right, let's go. That's right, Deputy Captain Yifeng, you can play with confidence. Leave the safety of the other team members to us. Then, the two team members took the other team members who were still in a coma to hide in the Palace of Penance. Became the audience. After the audience goes online. After Ishida Yulong completed his transformation outside the door, he was not in a hurry to shoot at Yifeng. He began to learn more about Yifeng. To be honest. To be forced, you have to be thorough. If no one else understands it, then it doesn't make sense to pretend. My dispersing glove is an ancestral thing of the Quincy Master, and has a high-level function of dispersing spirits. As long as it is worn, the Quincy will be hampered by its powerful spreading force, unable to make a bow with the spirit. However, once you are in this state, make a bow and keep it for 7 days and 7 nights, you can quickly approach the maximum limit of the Quincy. However, the sanguine glove can only be used once. Once you put it on, you can't take it off again, because under the influence of the Quincy Master, the binding force of the spiritual child has exceeded its own limit. A fire that is too strong will eventually burn itself, and when it is released again, the operator will gain great power in an instant. But after this, I will also lose all of his abilities as a Quincy. So, you're about to be defeated by this powerful move, don't you think it's very meaningful? Ishida Yulong explained it for a long time. After speaking, Tsunere also pushed his glasses. This made Yifeng speechless. To be honest, these things you just said, a person named Baidu has already told me. So, you hurry up and do it. Have you not seen that the audience is already seated inside? Yifeng looked at Ishida Yulong speechlessly. Fight and fight. What are you talking about, this mess? Do I also need to explain the tens of thousands of words of skill descriptions to you and then come up to hammer you? Hello. Asshole. Have you ever understood my explanation anymore? This is an all-out blow that I have exchanged with all my strength. Can you be more serious? Yifeng's attitude undoubtedly made Ishida Yulong very unhappy. Everyone is going to use big moves. Can you make the atmosphere more dignified? And loose spirit gloves are the secret of the Quincy clan. So how could someone from Baidu know the secret of Quincy? This is impossible. Absolutely impossible. Ah, that's fine. So Yifeng decided to cooperate with Ishida Yulong. He shrugged and said, your move is really scary. Facing this attitude of the night wind, Ishida Yulong finally couldn't take it anymore. He felt that Yi Feng's acting skills were really bad. Maybe it's because he's an honest man. Will not act. But anyway, Ishida Yulong was really angry this time. Under his wrath, the ultimate bow in the hands of Ishida Yulong shot a spiritual arrow, going straight towards the night wind. Amazing. Quiet's ultimate skill. Comparable to the power of the ancestor of the Quincy Master. It's just horrible. Between words, Yi Feng slashed out. Blazing thunder exploded. It collided with Ishida Yulong's arrow. Two amazing forces meet. A blazing light erupted. The audience in the Confession Palace was completely blinded by this ray of light. And Yi Feng also secretly untied the cloth strip on Yi Yi's body through this gap. Exposed her body. That moment, Yi Yi was a little confused. But her response was also quick. No matter what Yi Feng wants to do. Yoichi directly picked up Ichigo Kurosaki, launched Shunpo at a high speed, grabbed Yulong Ishida's back again, and left the Palace of Repentance instantly. Can't fight anymore. This boy is so scary. If he doesn't leave again, he will definitely be turned over by him. Chapter 528_87 points. After Ishida Yulong and Yefeng's moves collided, the turbulent flow of spirits fell. The front of the entire penitent palace has regained its calm appearance again. The friends in the palace opened their mouths in surprise. Although the enemy fled. But the battle left a very deep impression on them. Turn out to be. Yi Feng's vice captain's strength is so powerful. Even the terrifying Quincy exterminator is no match for Vice Captain Yi Feng. Ah! As expected of a Quincy master. Not only can I block my full blow, but I still have enough energy to save Saifeng Yuanyei and the others. I'm also very helpless. Yi Feng faked a sigh outside. Then he returned to Rukia's cell. As soon as you enter. Rukia immediately stood up, looked at Yi Feng meaningfully, and said, Yi Feng, are you alright? I just played a fight game with the children, what can I do? Yi Feng smiled nonchalantly and sat on the bed. Ah, so, you let them go on purpose. Rukia looked at Yi Feng with a surprised expression. Yes, you also said that they all came to the Soul Realm with good intentions to save you. As your friend, how can I really catch them? Yi Feng patted Rukia's little head. For the current night wind, many things are actually optional. Just like today's Kurosaki Ichigo and Shifenjin Yoichi. He can catch it or not. He doesn't need to care too much about these things. Perhaps. This is the mentality of the longevity strong. That is to say, there is still a system that will issue him some tasks. Let Yefeng have a little bit of purpose. Otherwise, it's actually a bit boring to have an enemy-free life like this. At this time, Yi Feng suddenly understood Geisha and the others. When lifespan is no longer their limit, the power is the strongest in the entire universe. So, a few eternal lives like this. Their mentality has indeed changed a lot. Such a pity. Yi Feng didn't stay in Super Seminary for that long. Otherwise, bring Geisha back to life. Then brush her favorability to 87 points. So, Geisha will have a clear goal. They will no longer feel that life is monotonous and meaningless. But Yi Feng can give others goals. But who will give Yefeng a target? Thought here. Yi Feng took out the jug again. Take a sip of liquor. For night wind. Back to all planes. Get all the girls who belong to him together. This is one of Yi Feng's goals. But this goal is too singular. Maybe. Find a chance in the future. Yi Feng brought his sisters back to his original world. Also a good target. Thought here. Yi Feng guzzled and finished the spirits in the jug. Rukia, be mentally prepared. Next, many unexpected things may happen to you, but you only need to remember one thing. No matter what happens, I will not let you have an accident. Yi Feng put away the jug, looked at Rukia, and laughed. Eyes are warm. That moment, Rukia felt as if she was about to be melted by the warmth of the night wind. In the dark, she felt that Yifeng might be the man she had been fantasizing about in her heart. Ding! Rukia Kuchiki's favorability to the host has reached 87 points. The system has locked its favorability. Hear a beeping sound from the system. Yifeng's gaze towards Rukia suddenly became strange. Rukia even broke through 87 points. Does that mean? But if Yifeng's estimation is correct, it won't be long. Aizen will control the central 46th room to issue a notice of Rukia's early execution. And at this time, if something does happen, is it really good? But at this moment, Rukia's eyes were already full of tenderness. She held Yifeng's palm. Suddenly, he leaned into Yifeng's arms. Night Wind. I didn't expect that I could meet you before I died. Although she did not speak. But how could Yifeng not understand? Then Yifeng raised his hand gently and summoned the power of law, completely covering Rukia's cell. Then they talked about life in it. The night is getting darker. The view is charming. However, the god of death in sea writing is still endlessly searching for traces of the calamity that invaded sea writing this time. Up to now, Inoue Oriheim, Chato Taihu, and Shiba Gansu have been arrested by Gote 13. But after Shippenjin Yaiki escaped with Kurosaki Ichigo and Ishida Yuryu, she took advantage of her knowledge of the internal environment of Seraiti and hid in a very safe place. Gote 13 could not find them for a while. Actually, according to Urahara Kazuki's original plan, Ichigo and their quests can be considered over here. They just hide. Stress, to Aizen. Aizen will definitely find a way to advance the sentence. As for the double-blind rescue, no need for a guard at all. Yaiki was confident, but persuaded Shiro Yukitaki and Jingle Chunsui. Because 100 years ago, Jingle Chunsui has always been full of doubts about Aizen. But just like Urahara Kazuki, although they had some speculation in their hearts, there was no evidence at all. So Kiraku Chunsui and Yukitaki Shiruro no Akatsuki after Urahara Kazuki's whole plan. They will definitely choose to take risks to cooperate with Yi. But as the son of the plane, Kurosaki Ichigo would give up easily. So, according to the script, he asked Yoichi to teach him Bankai. As for Ishida Yulong, it's just right when he's offline for a while. After sleepless nights are over. Early morning. The 5th squad. Aizen walked into his captain's office. He glanced at the vice captain Hinamori Dao, who was still sleeping on the sofa. A smile appeared on his face. Last night, Hinamori Momo is disturbed by the incident of the invasion. So she came to Aizen's office for comfort. Finally, under the comfort of Aizen, fell asleep, unconsciously, in Aizen's office. Captain Aizen, is your suicide note ready? Ichimaru Silver reminded Aizen beside him. Next, Aizen will arrange a suspended animation and leave a suicide note after the suspended animation. According to the original plan, this suicide note will guide Hinamori Momo to seek revenge against Hitsugaya Toshiro. By the time, the situation in the entire Seraiti will become more complicated. Oh, yes, it's time for more pieces to appear on this board. Chapter 529 _ Death of Aizen. The voice fell. Aizen smiled lightly. Then he took out a blank sheet of paper. Suicide note, to Hina Sendao. After writing, Aizen grabbed another coat and put it over the vice captain Hinamori Dao. Very caring. Silver. Let's go. Our plan can begin, and taking this opportunity, I plan to enter the Great Spirit Book corridor one last time to see if I can find any valuable information. The Great Spirit Book corridor is a very mysterious place. It is located under the underground meeting hall in the central 46th room. It is a very large database, which records all the events and secrets of the Soul Society from ancient times to the present. But the content of the records here has nothing to do with the will of the God of Death. The Great Spirit Book Corridor seems to have life, and it can record everything that has happened in the soul realm by itself. Of course, it is not an easy task to see the recorded information in the Great Spirit Book Corridor. Aizen used the ability of Kyoka Shueyu to sneak into the Great Spirit Book Corridor many times. But most of the time, Aizen couldn't see the information recorded in the corridor of the Great Spirit Book. A few times when the information can be seen. Most of what he saw was some useless everyday information. That's one good luck. Here he found information about entering the Lingwang Palace by making Wang Jian. But even Aizen Sosuke, his luck will not always be so good. In other words, it is a random thing to want to obtain information through the Great Spirit Book Corridor. Some people may be able to see what they want to see the first time they come. Some people may have stayed here for thousands of years without finding any useful information. It's entirely a matter of chance. If not, the Tsunayashiro clan, who was in charge of the Great Spiritual Art Corridor, had already mastered all the secrets of the Soul Society. It is not enough to let Aizen live in Seranje all the time. The sun rises. A ray of warm sunlight shone through the window and hit Hina Sendao's pretty face. Because the sun shines, Hina Marita's eyelids twitched slightly. Slowly woke up from the sweet dreamland. I am so tired. After waking up, Hinamori rubbed her neck that was a little stiff because her sleeping position was not right, and then looked up at her surroundings. Did I fall asleep directly in Captain Aizen's office last night? Hina Marita's cheeks instantly showed a shy look, when she realized that Captain Aizen was not in the office. This is relieved. This coat seems to be Captain Aizen's favorite one. He is really a warm and considerate captain. Hinamori Peach sat up from the sofa with a happy face. In her arms, she was holding the coat that Aizen had put on her before she left. Close your eyes. Carefully feel the kindness of Captain Aizen. Heart warm. This moment. Hinamori Dao thought that Captain Aizen was probably the most caring person in the world. It is no wonder that Aizen will say in the future, vision is the furthest distance from understanding. Oops, it seems that it's getting late, and I don't know if I'll be late. After Hina Moritao woke up, she simply sorted out her appearance, but found that it was getting late. Because today is a special day. Due to the misfortune of yesterday's invasion of Seraiti, there are still 3 people who are still missing. So, today's captain's meeting in the first team will be attended by the captains and vice-captains of each team. Rally like this. It is rare to meet Seo Lingting once in decades. So, Hinamori can't be late no matter what. Where did Captain Aizen go? Shouldn't he have already gone to the first team? Why didn't you call me? If I'm late, our 5th team will be defeated by another team. Let's have a discussion with the captain. Hinamori Dao did not find Aizen in the team building. She felt that Aizen might have gone to the first team first. Then, Hina Moritao also hurriedly left Aizen's office. Decided to take a shortcut to the first team. Catch up on this captain's meeting. On the way, Hina Moritao has been thinking about her Captain Aizen. After all, this was the first time she was able to participate in the captain's meeting with Captain Aizen. But when the young Sendao passed by the East Great Sacred Wall, the scene that caught her eye made Hinamori feel like her whole world was about to collapse. Accompanied by a coquettish cry, Hinamori Dao knelt under the high wall where Aizen's corpse was nailed. She burst into tears. The warm, water-like Captain Aizen had completely lost his vitality at this moment, and blood slowly flowed down the wall. If it weren't for the fact that he was a captain-level master. The concentration of spirits contained in the body is extremely high. At this time, He should have turned into a spirit child and disappeared. It didn't take long. More and more gods of death were attracted by Hinamori Dao's cry. The news of Aizen's murder finally began to spread in Saraiti. This undoubtedly casts a haze over the entire Saraiti. ... First team. Everyone thought this was the most well-staffed captain meeting. After all, the captain and vice-captain will participate. However, because of the blue dye, the faces of the captain and vice-captain who participated in this meeting were all gloomy. Today is just the second day of the invasion. But the death of the captain of the god of death of Gote 13 has already occurred. This is very shocking news for Seo Lingting. Everyone, you have already seen the matter of Captain Aizen. The cause of his death was that his sleep and locks were broken with a knife, and his heart was severely injured. The enemy's killing methods are very ruthless. But a captain-level master was killed, and no one in the entire Saranjay found out in time. This also shows that the strength of the enemy is stronger than we estimated yesterday. Yamamoto Yuan Luzai's face sinks like water. Suffocating. Although he is old. But it brought a sense of oppression to everyone. Yesterday, the Gote 13 team has already caught 3 calamities. Judging by information, 2 of them are humans who use full present. The other is Shiba Sora's younger brother. Although the abilities of the 3 of them are not bad, they are only limited. As for the other 3, according to the information sent back by the 9th Division yesterday, the other 3 are strong. But they were all injured by Yi Feng, they were all injured and escaped, and they should not have such power. So, in this soul world, there must be an unknown 7th person. And that person has the strength to kill the captain of Gote 13. Chapter 530 Nightwind's new mission. Mr. Yuan Lujai, Captain Lan Ran has a mild temper and rarely clashes with others, but his strength is not weak. Why was he killed by the enemy silently? Shiro Yukitaki frowned. Since Rukia had problems in this world, he always felt like there was a crisis looming over Saraiti. Jingle Chunshui has always said that Shiruro Yukitaki is too sensitive in his heart. But, however, Shiro Yukitaki thought that this was most likely because he possessed the right hand of the Spirit King in his body, so he had this keen feeling. Look now. There really is something big in the soul world. Captain Aizen's combat effectiveness is actually not weak, especially his Zanpakudo Kyoka Suzuki is also a Zanpakudo of the flowing water system. He can disrupt the enemy with the chaotic reflection of fog and water, and has extremely strong combat ability. Hitsugaya Tushiro's eyes flashed, and he glanced in the direction of Ichimaru Silver, saying, "However, what if the person who killed Aizen was also a master within the Gote 13th team? He probably never thought that a person he saw often would attack him." Hitsugaya Tushiro thought that there was something wrong with Ichimaru Silver from a long time ago. Because Aizen is a well-known good guy in Gote 13. But Ichimaru Silver would have a little quarrel with Aizen at every turn. And, in Tushiro's view, Ichimaru Silver hates Aizen as often some inconspicuous little things. In addition, the relationship between Hitsugaya Toshiro and Aizen Soyusuke's vice-captain Hinamori Dao is also very close. Hitsugaya Toshiro can also occasionally get some news about Aizen's disagreement with Ichimaru Silver from the mouth of Hinamori Dao. So, now something like this happened. Hitsugaya Toshiro's first suspect was Ichimaru Silver. Ah, why did Captain Hitsugaya specifically tell me such a terrible news? Are you suspecting that I killed Captain Aizen? Ichimaru Silver shrugged with a smile. Except for the night breeze. No one could see his true inner thoughts. It must be you. It must be you. Captain Aizen used to say that you were prejudiced against him. You must have followed the opportunity to invade and attacked Captain Aizen. Otherwise, with the strength of Captain Aizen, how could you be silent? Killed without interest. Young Mori Dao binocular pass Yuhi. Staring fiercely at Ichimaru Silver. If this is not a public place. She must have rushed up to fight Ichimaru Silver desperately. Hee, Vice Captain Hinamori, you can't take medicine indiscriminately, and you can't talk nonsense. Ichimaru Silver shrugged and said, you accused me of killing Captain Aizen, but do you have any evidence? Although Hinamori Momo had already determined that it was Ichimaru Silver who killed Aizen. But she really has no evidence. Hinamori, don't worry, justice may be late but will never be absent. Hitsugaya Toshiro walked to Hinamori's side and let her lean on his shoulder. If you let me find out who the real murderer is, I will never let him go. Although Hitsugaya Toshiro doesn't have a deep friendship with Aizen Sosuke. But Hitsugaya Toshiro has a very close relationship with Hinamori Momo. So he is definitely going to help Hinamori. Yeah, Xiaobai, we must not let the murderer go unpunished. Hina Sentao's eyes were determined. Actually, at this time, Yifeng originally wanted to stand up and remind Ujiwali to pay attention to Aizen's corpse. To be honest, from the moment of suspended animation, Aizen is basically equivalent to a showdown. As long as it can be proven that there is a problem with the corpse. So, Aizen's old-fashioned personality has collapsed. Of course. For Urahara Kazuki, it is best to wait until Aizen has a complete showdown and all problems are exposed. But Yifeng didn't particularly care about these things. He was about to remind. But sudden. Yifeng's system sent a new mission. Ding. Please go to the hill of Shuangsheng to complete the pre-check-in when Shuangshan is liberated, and complete the final sign-in after Aizen escapes into the virtual circle. After Yifeng received the new task, his mood became strange. There is something about this task. Still pre-registered. Still after Aizen escaped into the virtual circle. In order not to spoil the main storyline. Your system no longer needs billion. Deputy Captain Yefeng, what did you just want to say? Ujiwali looked at Yefeng and asked. I actually wanted to say just now. Maybe the seventh person who invaded Seraiti this time is really in trouble, but the reason why he has been hiding and not showing up may be because he wants to arouse our Gote 13th team. Internal suspicion, so that they can more easily achieve their goals. Quote. Yifeng made up a nonsense without thinking. I was worried that I would not be able to deceive people. Result. They even thought what Yifeng said was very reasonable. You say it's irritating or not? Deputy Captain Yefeng's remarks are reasonable. Since the cause of Captain Aizen's death has not yet been determined, everyone should share the same hatred as the enemy and capture the calamity as soon as possible. The 7th Division Captain Komamura Zojun said. To be honest, Aizen just died. The autopsy is not yet complete. No one can guarantee who the killer is. So, until there is clear evidence that someone inside killed Aizen. Suspect never. There must be no internal chaos. Well, the murder of Captain Aizen will be handed over to the 8th Division to investigate, and the rest of the division's work focus is still on the search for travel disasters. Yamamoto Motoyasu Shigekuni ordered. Don't worry, Commander-in-Chief, as the 7th Division is the inner court escort of Saranjay, we will definitely capture all the misfortunes as soon as possible. Komamura Zojun said. Yeah, I still have to commit crimes, and our 3rd Division has to work hard. Ichimaru Silver said with a smile. It's the same with the 10th Division. So do we. Very well, then I will trouble you all about this matter. I hope that you can tell the old man the news of catching or killing the misfortune by tonight at the latest. Captain Yamamoto nodded in relief. As long as the spirit of Gote 13 is still there. So, Seriacy is not really chaos. By the way, I called everyone here today. In addition to discussing the matter of Captain Aizen, this old man has another news to announce. The Commander-in-Chief's voice fell. He raised his eyes and swept over Yukataki Shuru and Kuchiki Byakuya. We already know the purpose of the 3 travelers we caught yesterday to infiltrate Seraiti. Their goal is to rescue Kuchiki Rukia. Therefore, in view of the goal of the trip this time, the Central 46th Room made a temporary decision, and the execution date of Kuchiki Rukia will be advanced to 3 days later. Chapter 531 Aizen's suicide note. What? 3 days later. After hearing the news, Renji Asanjing felt a heavy hammer in his heart, and he shouted loudly. Captain, even though the purpose of the trip is to rescue Rukia, it's not Rukia's fault. Why should her sentence be brought forward? The news of Rukia's early execution undoubtedly had a huge impact on Renji Asane. Although the Central 46 Room has decided to execute Rukia. Although Asanjing Renji has nothing to do with this matter. But there is still a long way to go before the official execution. Rukia is still alive after all. So, Renji has been waiting for the miracle to appear. But if it's earlier, isn't the chance of Rukia turning around even more slim? Renji, this is the first team. How can you be so loud in front of the captains and the captain? Kuchiki Byakuya reprimanded Renji expressionlessly. As if noble squads always need to maintain noble etiquette. Captain Kuchiki, she's Rukia, she. Asashi Renji wanted to question Kuchiki Byakuya. Ask him why he can be so hard-hearted. But this time, Captain Yamamoto poked the crutches in his hand towards the ground. The voice fell. Deputy Captain Asanjing, the decision to advance Kuchiki Rukia's sentence was made by the Central 46th Office. Do you want to openly object to it? In the eyes of Captain Yamamoto, Kuchiki Rukia is nothing but a simple sinner. Now, since Rukia invaded Saraiti because of Rukia. So, it is also a good plan to use Rukia's sentence in advance to deter the misfortunes and speed up their rescue operations, so as to catch them all in one go. So, Yamamoto Motoyanagi said that there is nothing wrong with the ruling of the 46th Central Office. That's not what I meant, Captain. Under the astonishing pressure of the old man Yamamoto, Asanjing Renji couldn't help swallowing, and was about to explain, but Kuchiki Byakuya interrupted him. Captain, Renji is wrong. After I take him back, I will definitely punish him severely. Kuchiki Byakuya remained expressionless. But, in the depths of his heart, he didn't want to be like Renji, and questioned loudly in public. After all, Rukia is his sister. After the meeting, Yifeng walked with Hitsugaya Tushiro and Matsumoto Ranju. From behind, Tushiro looked at Ranju and Yifeng, who were not quite right in the painting style in front. There was deep doubt on his face. When did these two get together? How far has it developed now? It's too sudden, isn't it? Such a good cabbage is going to be poached. Perhaps it was because he felt the strange gaze of Hitsugaya Toshiro. Yifeng and Luanju stopped together. Turn around. Yifeng looked at Hitsugaya Toshiro and asked, Toshiro, in fact, Vice Captain Hinamori is quite pitiful. I suggest you go to the 5th Division to take care of her. Hinamori Dao is a rather tragic lorry. And, according to Yifeng's memory, Aizen will put the blame on Hitsugaya Toshiro for the suspended animation, and the young Mori Dao and Hitsugaya Toshiro, their childhood sweethearts, will be beaten to death, which is even more pitiful. So, for the sake of Luanju, Yifeng plans to help Dong Shilang. As for whether this pair of childhood sweethearts can be successful, then it depends on his own creation. But, obviously, even though the night wind is self-indulgent, but Hitsugaya Toshiro is obviously not ready to lead Yifeng's love. Deputy Captain Yifeng, I don't seem to know you that well. Please call me Captain Hitsugaya. Tsuneshiro Hitsugaya curled his lips. Ah, that's it, that's fine, Captain Toshiro. Yifeng smiled. He did not change his name to Captain Hitsugaya. After all, Yifeng always felt that the name Raibend Valley was a little out of place. 5th Squad. Hinamori Dao returned to the captain's office. But, at this moment, the captain's office has lost the figure of Captain Aizen. Hina Moritao just stared at the familiar things around her. 2 lines of hot tears could not help streaming down his cheeks. Last night. Her warm leader Aizen also talked to her late at night. She even put on a coat after she fell asleep. And now. Her captain Aizen was already lying in the cold morgue of the 4th Division. Why is this? Why don't good people live long? Hinamori felt as if her whole world was about to collapse. It didn't take long. Hitsugaya Tushiro also came to the 5th Division. Although he doesn't like listening to Yi Feng's advice. But, have to say, Hitsugaya Tushiro felt that the young Moridao really needed extra care at this time. Young Sen, condolences, people can't be resurrected from the dead. Hitsugaya Tushiro looked at Hina Moridao, whose face was pale. Yu sighed. Both of them are quite young. But not tall. There are many similarities. And the 2 are still childhood sweethearts. The relationship is very close. So, Hitsugaya Toshiro saw that he had become such a childhood sweetheart because of Aizen. Feeling a little sad too. Xiaobai, it must be Ichimaru Silver who killed Captain Aizen. I have a strong premonition that it must be him. Hina Moritao looked at Toshiro and said with a firm oath. Don't worry, Hinamori, if the evidence is convincing, I will definitely not let him go. Toshiro sighed, and then he suddenly saw a letter on the bookshelf, which was written by Hinamori himself. Hey. Young Mori, come here and see what this is. Hina Morita walked to the bookshelf and took the letter with a bewildered expression. This letter. Hinata tilted her head to recall what happened last night, and said, I remember that I helped Captain Aizen organize the bookshelf last night. There shouldn't be a letter here at that time. Hina Moridao is a very attentive woman. So. She clearly remembered that she must have tidied up Captain Aizen's bookshelf. It is impossible to remember wrong. Open it and take a look. Hitsugaya Toshiro reminded. Then. Hinamori Dao opened the envelope and took out Aizen's suicide note. This is Captain Aizen's suicide note. Hinamori Dao held Aizen's suicide note in both hands. The whole body began to tremble. A suicide note. Did Aizen already know that he would be killed? Hitsugaya Toshiro frowned and walked to Hinamori's side, briefly glanced at the contents of the letter. Subsequently, his eyes began to become extremely dignified. Hinamori, are you sure that this letter is written by Aizen? Could it be that someone deliberately framed it? Hitsugaya Toshiro asked with a frown. Hina Moritao clenched the Kiba pass. 2 lines of hot tears flowed from his eyes again. She took Aizen's suicide note into her arms and reached out to grab her Zanpakuto. He looked at Hitsugaya Toshiro with a determined expression. Can't go wrong. This is definitely Captain Aizen's handwriting. I can't admit I'm wrong. Looking at the determined face of Hina Moridao, Hitsugaya Toshiro sighed. Then. That is to say. The person who killed Captain Aizen turned out to be Yamanaka Yeka's. Chapter 532 _ Are you thinking of peaches? Hear the devil's name. Pretty lowly, young Sendao instantly opened her eyes to Yuhi, which is called blood pouring into her pupils. She stepped forward and grabbed Dongshalang's collar, bit Kiba and said. Of course. Captain Aizen has written it very clearly in the letter. Captain Aizen found out that Yamanaka Yefeng had evil intentions, but Captain Aizen didn't give up on him, and still wanted to use goodwill to influence that demon, so he asked him to meet at the East Great Sacred Wall last night. But Yamanaka Yefeng, that scumbag. He actually brutally killed Captain Aizen. How could he do such a thing? Too unforgivable. Heard here. Hitsugaya Toshiro touched his chin and showed a thoughtful look. No wonder Yi Feng insisted on putting forward the concept of a 7th calamity at the captain's meeting. Turn out to be. He is the evil murderer. He wants to clear his suspicions by framing the blame on the traveler. So. That being the case. Chaotic chrysanthemum. Do not blame me. Who let this guy break Hinamori's heart? Akiu. Palace of Penance. Rukia's room. Yifeng was about to tell her that Rukia was going to be executed early. Then try to comfort Rukia. However, as he was talking, he suddenly sneezed. This made Yifeng really confused. Just our waist. Could it be that Rukia caught a cold? Can't Yifeng, are you okay? Is it because you caught a cold last night? Rukia asked with concern. Cold? What a joke, you already know my physical fitness, how could I catch a cold? Yifeng shook his head and said, I think someone may be talking bad about me behind my back. It's too much to speak ill of you. Rukia unhappily threw herself into Yifeng's embrace. She seemed to have forgotten the era when she called Yifeng scumbag. By the way, Rukia, in today's captain's meeting, in addition to Aizen's matter, the captain also announced another matter that has something to do with you. Yifeng said while looking at Rukia. Oh, it's about me. What's the matter? Rukia asked. Because of the misfortune, the 46th room decided to advance your sentence, and will probably execute you 3 days later. Yifeng said slowly. It's only 3 days. Rukia was stunned when she heard the words, her face showing a bit of loneliness, and then said, Then what are you waiting for? We don't have much time, hurry up and enjoy the last joy of the beast. Have fun. Rukia, you wait first. Yifeng used a tie to calm Rukia, and then said, Actually, you don't have to worry too much. You must not something will happen. You have to believe me, there will be opportunities in the future. Quote. I know, but that doesn't stop us from pursuing happiness in the moment. Rukia's eyes were like water, and she looked at Yifeng tenderly. Her intention was already very obvious. She is the body of a greedy person. To this, Yifeng could only helplessly shrug. An 87-point favorability rating is such a strange existence. Once locked, the girl completely lost her modesty in front of him. But how to say such a thing? This function is either good or bad. Although locking in the favorability level can make the target girl very loyal to Yifeng. But thus, Yifeng has lost a lot of the fun of special scenes. It's like taking a bath and refusing to welcome it. But this is also impossible. Perhaps this is the punishment for hanging up. That's it. Yifeng was about to do something. But this time, the members of the 9th Division suddenly knocked on the door. Deputy Captain Yifeng. Something is bad. Captain Hitsugaya is making a fuss outside the Palace of Repentance with Vice Captain Hina Moritao, and it seems that he is preparing to force his way into the Palace of Repentance. Hear the report of the team members outside. Yifeng frowned. Why are these two people making trouble at the Confession Palace at this time? Shouldn't they now stage a dog-blood plot of mutual suspicion and love and killing of childhood sweethearts under the design of Aizen? Rukia, I'll go out first to see what's going on. You wait for me here. Yifeng stood up and tidied up his clothes. Come to the Palace of Confession. Yifeng looked at Hina Moridao and Toshiro, who were in a bad state, and asked, You two, you haven't found the accident yet, so why don't you stay in your team and come to the Confession Palace? Yamanaka Yekas, you don't want to be smug here. You are the real murderer who killed Captain Aizen. Young Moridao bit Kiba Zanpakuto from his waist directly. Bloom, Fame. In the society, my sister Tauzi, there are not many cruel words. The voice fell. Zanpakuto, Flying Plum, in the hands of Hinamori Momo completes Shikai instantly. A pink halo surrounded the blade. At the same time, many pink plum petals fluttered all over the young forest peach. This picture is very beautiful. But since Hinamori Momo can become Aizen Sosuke's vice captain, she was destined to never be just a vase. She is also very strong. Hina Moritao held the liberated Fame in her hand and charged directly in Yifeng's direction. This seems silly though. But just when Hinamori was about to rush in front of Yifeng, she suddenly disappeared in front of Yifeng in a blink of an eye, cutting into what she thought was Yifeng's visual blind spot. Then, Hina Morita raised her hand and pointed in Yifeng's direction. The 12 breaking paths. Ambush the fire. Hum. As Hinamori Dao's voice fell, one after another blue spirits were weaved in midair into a large net of spiritual power hanging above Yifeng's head. But Hinamori Dao did not attack immediately. She launched the second ghost wave at about the same time. The 26 boundaries. Qiguang. Hum. Under the influence of Qiguang, the Reiatsu big net that was hanging above Yifeng's head suddenly disappeared. Next moment, with the Zanpakuto of Hinamori Momo waving, the curved light effect disappears, shrouded in the big net of Hina Sentao's fire. Thus, Yifeng's actions were completely controlled by Hinamori Dao. Then, Feimei finally began to really bloom. Countless fist-sized fireballs filed out from Feimei's blade and charged towards Yifeng, who was trapped. Boom. Boom boom boom. Feimei's fireball attack set off a terrifying hurricane and sent a powerful explosion where Yeka's was standing. But the smoke dissipated. The night wind had already disappeared. Seeing such a scene, young Sendao's face was slightly startled. When did Feimei's power become so great? Even the corpse was destroyed. But it is clear. She was thinking about Peaches. Chapter 533 Captain Toshiro, you are so scary. Next moment, Hinamori Dao suddenly felt the warm breath of a man behind her. Yifeng had already flashed behind Hinata Mori, with her left hand in a knife-handed posture, ready to calm her down. Faced with an attack of this speed, Hina Morita couldn't react at all. Her eyes were blurred. Although wont to dodge. But mobilizing spiritual power also takes time. She can't even make it. But Hina Moritao has teammates. Hitsugaya Toshiro is the genius captain of the Soul Society. Naturally, he has been paying attention to Yifeng's actions. Just as Yifeng appeared behind Hinamori Dao, Hitsugaya Toshiro also blocked her back. He gently lifted the Zanpakuto in his hand. Stopped in the attack route of Yifeng's hand knife. At the same time, the corners of his mouth rose slightly. That means as if to say, is bullying a vice captain very rewarding? Your speed. I, the genius captain of the Soul Society, also have it. Then, expressionless hand slashed the Zanpakuto of Hitsugaya Toshiro. Boom. A terrifying force swept out. The huge force transmitted from Zanpakuto with a dumbfounded expression. He said, why does an ordinary white strike have such power? Could it be that he, the talented captain, is going to be abused again? The thought turned. Hitsugaya Toshiro was smashed by Yifeng with a bang. Hit Hinamori. Then it hit the murderous stone wall of the Palace of Penance. Fortunately, young Mori Dao doesn't look like a loli. But the places where it should be developed are well developed. So, buffering works well. Hitsugaya Toshiro was not injured. The response is very fast. Captain Toshiro, you are truly a genius in the Soul Society, it's just too terrifying. Yifeng praised Toshiro solemnly. Hear Yifeng's praise. The expression on Hitsugaya Toshiro's face was quite complicated. He probably wanted to thank Yifeng's 10 Yashara ancestors. Then, Hitsugaya Toshiro held Hinamori Dao in his arms, and after checking it carefully, he was relieved after confirming that there was no danger to his life. Xiaobai, you must help me kill him and avenge me for Aizen-sama. Hinamori Peach sobbed weakly in Toshiro's arms. The difference in strength made Hinamori Dao understand that Yifeng could never be handled by her alone. Have to say, this kind of awakening actually has broken bees, random chrysanthemums, and rukia. Don't worry, Hinamori, leave the justice of you and Aizen to me to preside over. Hitsugaya Toshiro leaned Hinamori against the wall, then stood opposite Yifeng, sit on the frosty sky. Higher and Maru, quote. Because Hinamori was injured. Toshiro was completely angry. So, he launched Shikai of Zanpakuto directly. There was absolutely no time for Yifeng to talk. Just see. The majestic spiritual pressure within Hitsugaya Toshiro rose into the sky. Silver chain appeared at the end of his zanpakudo, with a crescent-shaped blade hanging from the end of the chain. And at the same time, a huge frost dragon appeared out of nowhere, roaring towards the night wind. The world seemed to change color. This is Shikai of Hitsugaya Toshiro. Superb. Isn't it just playing along? It's not like anyone else. Yifeng shrugged indifferently. The thumb gently lifted Guido up 2 fingers distance. The great power dragon. Then, a blue thunder dragon that bloomed with supreme coercion also rose into the sky. This thunder dragon is far superior to the ice dragon after Hitsugaya Shikai in terms of spiritual pressure and size. That's it. 2 big dragons meet in the air. After some love swings, the thunder dragon of Yifeng has completely entangled the ice dragon of Hitsugaya. Zzz. A terrifying thunder burst. The ice dragon roared in the sky and let out a mournful cry. Subsequently, turned into debris and scattered into the air. Roar. After Yifeng's thunder dragon killed Toshiro's ice dragon, roaring towards Hitsugaya Toshiro. What a strong lightning attack. 6-clothed ice formation. A look of astonishment appeared on Toshiro's face. Obviously, on Shikai's attack side, he asked himself that he was not as good as Yifeng. So, Lui Bingji formation, which was supposed to be an offensive formation, as a means of defense to block Yifeng's thunder dragon. Boom. Yifeng's thunder dragon slammed into the ice wall around Hitsugaya Toshiro. The thunder light in the sky drowned the figure of Hitsugaya, although the ice wall blocked the lightning strike. But Hitsugaya Toshiro consumed a lot of spiritual power under this blow, and he was already breathing heavily. It's no wonder that you can kill a captain-level master silently. Your strength is really strong. I'm careless. Just 1 hit. Hitsugaya Toshiro has already fallen into a disadvantage. This made him re-examine Yifeng. Toshiro. You can't talk nonsense. Why do you say I killed Aizen? Yifeng looked at Dong Shilang calmly. By now, everything is already obvious. The suicide note that Aizen used to put the blame on Toshiro must have been changed to Yifeng's name in the end. Filled with childlike fun. Humph. I just said that you killed the captain-level master. Did I say that you killed Aizen? You are clearly guilty of being a thief. Hitsugaya Toshiro looked at Yifeng with a cold gaze. He felt it was time to stage the real technology. Then, a bright light flashed in Hitsugaya Toshiro's eyes. Bankai. Big Yuhi Lotus Hirenmaru. Don't look at Hitsugaya Toshiro, who looks like a child. But this guy is also a ruthless man. He saw that Yifeng's zanpakudo was powerful, so he directly transformed Hirenmaru, Bankai, into the form of Dai Yuhiren Hirenmaru. Tisk tisk. Have you used Bankai against me without even a decent proof? It seems that Hinamori is really your weakness. Unfortunately, she's just Aizen's brain-crazy fan. Yifeng looked at Toshiro with a slightly mocking expression. It's no wonder that Aizen's original plan chose to involve the 2 of them. Because these 2 are too impulsive. Damn. Yamanaka Night Wind. I forbid you to insult Hinamori. Look at the trick. Millennium Ice Prison. Obviously. Under the mockery of the Night Wind, Hitsugaya Toshiro was instantly furious. He directly used the big move of the big Yuhilian Hirenmaru. Just see. The moisture in the air is instantly condensed into a large piece of ice Jinchuriki column under the action of the big Yuhi Lotus Hirenmaru, and the night wind is caught in it, and it is instantly closed, and he is frozen in this 1,000-year-old ice. In the ice prison. You are indeed strong. However, the battle is over. Yamanaka Night Wind. Chapter 534_Frozen and 100 Flowers Burial. To be frank, Hitsugaya Toshiro was a little surprised by the current result. Because he originally thought that this move would not necessarily hit Yifeng. After all, the night wind is fast. The ghost knows if he can escape. And now. No matter if the night wind is careless or what. Since he has been frozen by a 1,000-year ice prison. So. This also means that the battle is over. Little White. Nice job. Hinamori Momo is very aware of Toshiro's power. She looked at Yi Feng's weak figure in the Millennium Ice Prison, and a longing smile finally appeared on her face. Captain Aizen, I have already avenged you. If you are alive, I hope you can see it. When a person dies, they enter the realm of corpses. The realm of corpses is the kingdom of heaven in this world. But, will there be a certain dimension of heaven after the death of the god of death? No one can tell. But, in Hinamori's consciousness, her Aizen captain can definitely still see her efforts. But, at this time, huge ice Jinchuiki column. A voice resembling Chidori's sounded. Click click. A crack like a spider web appeared on the Millennium Ice Prison in an instant. Subsequently, ice prison shattered. Countless icy debris circled in the air like ice flowers. And at the Binghua center, Yifeng looked at Xiao Sen Dao unscathed, and said lightly, Xiao Sen, innocence is the furthest distance from fear, so you shouldn't really think that you can hurt me with Toshiro's Bankai. Huh. Yifeng's voice fell. Endless thunder shone around him. The ice flower that fell in the air was hit by the thunder. All turned into powder. To be able to withstand the low temperature of the 1,000-year ice prison, it seems that I have to use the lore, Yamanaka Yefeng. Hitsugaya Toshiro's eyes froze. Dragon Rangia. Toshiro moved the tip of Zanpakudo's sword forward. Like a gust of wind. Directly towards the night wind. Clang. Yifeng raised his hand and pressed it on Toshiro's blade. Thunder and lightning meet the ice again. Countless ice cubes were instantly frozen and then quickly shattered by lightning. Dongshilang, I've made enough ice chips around for you, haven't you? You still don't plan to use your stunt, Ice Sky and 100 Flowers Burial, to use it. Yifeng smiled faintly. But this smile made Hitsugaya Toshiro horrified. How does he know my true intentions? How did he know that Bingtian 100 Flowers Burial is the ultimate move of the big Yuhili and Hirenmaru? But, although Hitsugaya Toshiro was full of surprises. But, by now, he can only shoot. The Ice Sky and 100 Flowers Burial. Hitsugaya Toshiro's voice fell. The ice debris scattered around them instantly turned into water vapor. Even the ice on his wings after Bankai melted instantly. Almost at the same time. Around the night wind. Eerie snowflakes began to swirl and dance. When the snowflakes touched the night wind, they began to freeze wildly. Yamanaka Night Wind. I admit that you are very strong. But Hirenmaru is the strongest ice-type Zanpakudo in the Soul World. 100 Heavens Burial of Ice Flowers is Hirenmaru's strongest skill. So, when all the flowers bloom, that's when your life comes to an end. It's all over. Hitsugaya Toshiro was breathing heavily, but his gaze towards Yefeng was filled with indifference. But, Toshiro felt a little strange. He didn't see that kind of dying fear on Yifeng's face. This made him feel something was wrong. Finally, 100 flowers bloom. Hitsugaya Toshiro breathed a sigh of relief. He was originally worried that Yifeng would have a way to break through the ice before the flowers bloomed. But since he didn't, then this battle situation is completely stable. Because, when 100 flowers bloom, there is no doubt that they will die. This is a matter of law. No need to be reasonable. However, just after Hitsugaya Toshiro took a deep breath, Yifeng, who should have been frozen, suddenly laughed. Toshiro. In such a season, you can still let me see such a beautiful snow scene. Your Zanpakudo is really excellent. Yifeng suddenly spoke, causing Dong Shilang's heart to tremble. How can it be? How could he not be dead? Toshiro. Why are you acting so surprised? Don't you really think that Hirenmaru is the strongest ice-type Zanpakudo? Yifeng's voice fell. The terrifying, ice demonic energy, suddenly swept out. Although Yi Feng's current level of spiritual power is still unable to motivate the ice demonic energy to exert the effect of absolute zero. But under Yi Feng's ultimate Reiatsu, this turbulent cold is definitely better than Hitsugaya Toshiro's, frying in ice and 100 flowers. And actually, when frying in the ice and 100 flowers was launched, the night wind has already covered the whole body with cold air. Those hundreds of ice flowers just bloomed on the surface of the cold air created by the night wind. Naturally, the night wind cannot be hurt. Little White, be careful. Hina Morita issued a reminder. But Hitsugaya Toshiro, who was already shocked by Yi Feng, had no time to be careful. Yi Feng punched out. The terrifying cold air slammed into Dong Shilang's body with thunder hammers. Boom! Toshiro collided with the murderous stone of the Repentance Palace, causing cracks like spider webs to appear in the murderous stone. You can see the power of this punch. You actually have the ability of ice and lightning at the same time. Is your Zanpakudo a dual-line Zanpakudo? Hitsugaya Toshiro spat out a mouthful of blood. His eyes were full of confusion. Even the Zanpakudo of Yefeng is a rare dual-line Zanpakudo. But he should be just Shikai, too, right? No, Benkai, right? Etc. Shikai. Could it be that he just used the power of incomplete liberation? But not fully liberated Zanpakudo can defeat Benkai, Dai Yuhiren Hirenmaru. What about trouble? Just when Hitsugaya Toshiro was surprised, decided to perform the liberation of Zanpakudo. Then Yi Feng lifted Goosh up, the tip of the knife pointed upwards, and placed it vertically in front of his chest. Ahem, show him some color, Goosh. Boom! Yi Feng's voice fell. The sky suddenly became dense with thunderclouds. Countless thunders are intertwined in the thundercloud. Moment. A thunderbird with terrifying coercion broke through the clouds, heading in the direction of Hitsugaya Toshiro, pressing down. Boom! Blazing lightning burst. A huge pit was smashed into the ground outside the Palace of Penance. Hitsugaya Toshiro and Hina Moridao lay neatly in the pit. All black. There's only half-life left. But Yi Feng just wanted to punish them. Otherwise, this shot should have killed them. Chapter 535_Witness of the Night Wind. Why don't you guys go to the 4th Division and invite Captain Unoka over here? Remember to act fast. Otherwise, if the two of them die, it will be all your fault. Yi Feng gave an order to the members of the 9th Division who were watching the excitement in the Palace of Confession. Throw the pot away. Deputy Captain Yefeng, don't make trouble, we can't afford to take this blame. That's right, Vice Captain Yi Feng. We are not close to the 4th Division. When we rush over and bring people back, then these two will be dead. Stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and call people. Since you know that Captain Toshiro and Vice Captain Hinamori are about to die, if you don't call for help, if they die, you must be responsible. Yi Feng blamed them unceremoniously. That means, do you still have any love? Everyone is hurt like this. Why don't you call the doctor? Are you still talking this nonsense here? Want a face? Deputy Captain, if you really want to save people, then you can use a sky to inform you. Why do you have to let us run over? Isn't this more delaying? Yes, they were all injured by your old man, and you were responsible for it yourself. Bullshit, who told you that I would be sky high? Have you seen me use it? If you are someone who knows it, who will use it yourself? Yi Feng glanced at them. This. The players looked in disbelief. Your old man's number 99 binding road can be easily picked up. A sky is very empty, but you can't. Isn't this a joke? But the black pot has been thrown over. What can they do as players? At this time, they couldn't help but remember a long time ago. The 9th Division has an officer whose name seems to be called Regiment or something. He is very good at being slandered. But in the end it was crushed to death by the black pot. ... After a while, Yifeng felt that there were several captain-level spiritual pressures coming in the direction of the Repentance Palace. To be honest, the fight between Yifeng and Hitsugaya Toshiro just now was very fierce. Naturally, the other captains also sensed it long ago. After a while, the commander-in-chief, Yamamoto Moto Ryusai Shigekuni and Jingle Chunchui, rushed to the Palace of Confession first. They looked at the ruined palace wall of the Penitent Palace and the Tushiro and Hinamori Dao who fell in the deep pit. The complexion is quite dignified. Deputy Captain Yifeng, what's going on? You did this all? Captain Yamamoto raised his eyebrows and asked Yifeng. I was originally doing my daily work in the Confession Palace, but they suddenly forced their way into the Confession Palace. They had to say that I killed Captain Aizen, and then Yuhi shot at me indiscriminately. I just carried out a normal resistance. The guards of the Confession Palace saw the process clearly. You can ask them if you don't believe me. Quote. Nightwind shrugged. Although he is the one who hurts people, he takes care of it. Oh, the old man Yamamoto turned his head to look at Jingle Chunchui, and said, Beijing band leader, go and investigate. Is it the same as what the vice captain Yifeng said? Okay. Subsequently, Jingle Chunchui entered the Palace of Confession, and carefully followed the guards in the Palace of Confession to find out what happened just now. Really? Just like what Yifeng said. Hitsugaya Toshiro and Hinamori Dao seemed to be making trouble out of nowhere. Another moment passed. Ujawali finally arrived here. She was speechless when she looked at Xiaobai and Taozi in the pit. Why did these two go to Yifeng's place to send people's heads instead of catching the calamity? Next, after some simple treatment, Hitsugaya Toshiro and Hinamori Dao finally escaped the danger of their lives. Basic consciousness is restored. Captain, Yamanaka Yifeng is the murderer who killed Captain Aizen. I have evidence. Hinamori Dao weakly pointed at Yifeng and said viciously. Oh, where's the evidence? Show it to the old man. Yamamoto Yuanyugai Shigekuni glanced at them calmly. Is there really a problem with the night wind? The evidence is here. Xindao hurriedly took it out in her arms, but under Yifeng's lightning strike, the letter was long gone. How could this be? That letter. Then what about the letter? Why is it missing? Hina Sendao's expression was stunned. In her opinion, that letter is ironclad proof. But the irrefutable evidence was destroyed by Yifeng. Captain, Yifeng must have destroyed the evidence when he attacked us, which shows that there is something wrong with him. Hitsugaya Toshiro thought for a while and came to a seemingly correct conclusion. Deputy Captain Yifeng, what's your explanation for the accusations against the two of them? The old man Yamamoto glanced at Yifeng with a stern look. Although old man Yamamoto is very willing to believe that Yifeng is innocent. But, judging from the performance of Hitsugaya Toshiro and Hinamori Dao, the weight of that letter should be very heavy. If you want to get rid of Yifeng's crime, it has to be disproved from the evidence. If the evidence is destroyed, that was really bad for Yifeng. Explain. Yifeng shrugged nonchalantly, and said, Captain Aizen died last night, but I stayed in the Palace of Confession last night and never left. All the guards here can give I testify. Yifeng didn't care about Lan Ran's framing. Because there are many others. Deputy Captain Yifeng didn't lie. He has been in Rukia's cell since last night, and he didn't come out of it until this morning. Yes, we can all testify. Hear the enthusiastic explanations from the team members. Yifeng frowned. You guys can prove that I've been in the House of Confession all the time. Why go into details? What about trouble? Really? After the captains and vice captains who had arrived here heard the news, all his faces became weird. That is, Kuchiki Byakuya didn't come today because he didn't like the night wind. Otherwise, it is estimated that the knife was drawn on the spot. All the 1,000 books of Sakurajinyan, Jiajing, Yanjing, and the final scene are all arranged for Yifeng. Yifeng-kun, you stayed in Rukia's cell all night, what the hell did you do? Uno Hanaritsu put on a look of wanting to eat melons. What else can I do? Of course, it's been interrogated overnight. Yifeng said solemnly. We are a prison team, and it is common to interrogate prisoners all night, so there is nothing strange. Yes, Vice Captain Yifeng works very hard, often arraigning prisoners all night. At this time, another clever team member stood up and explained Yifeng enthusiastically. By the way, the vice captain of the 10th Division, Lu Anju, often comes to help. Basically, the first trial lasts all night. Chapter 536_Day of Execution. This superfluous explanation instantly made Matsumoto Ranju, who had just arrived, panic a little. Ruined. Showed off. Can't we steal it later? Too bad, right? But by now, the suspicion of Yifeng basically no longer has much suspense. Although Aizen's letter that was deliberately used to frame Yifeng was destroyed. But there are a lot of Yifeng witnesses. Although those cheating witnesses revealed a little problem in Yifeng's personal behavior. But that's just some normal love between men and women. That doesn't violate the rules of the Soul Society. So, finally, the Commander-in-Chief, Yamamoto Motoyanagi, believes that Aizen's letter was intentionally forged by the murderer. And severely reprimanded Hitsugaya Toshiro and Hinamori Momo, accusing them that they shouldn't shoot their colleagues privately. Even if the evidence is solid, the evidence should be taught to the first team. Wait until the investigation is clear. It's up to him to decide. How can you do it yourself? There are no rules at all. ... Quiet Tower Julin. This is the residence of the members of the Central 46 Rooms. Also for this particular reason, the Quiet Tower and Julin is a forbidden area in the Soul Realm. Usually, the god of death of Gotei 13 is strictly prohibited from approaching here. The purpose is to prevent the Shinigami from Gotei 13 team from interceding or taking revenge from the Central 46th Room for certain things. This seems fair. But the 46 rooms in the center are all composed of noble members. So, when they make any decision, they will first start with the interests of the nobles. Where else do you need someone else? At this moment, the entire Central 46 rooms have long been slaughtered by Aizen. Aizen placed a desk in the center of Quiet Talon. He was sitting here listening to Ichimaru Silver reporting the situation outside. I originally planned to use this incident to make the water in Saranjay more turbid. I didn't expect Yamanaka Yifeng to solve this problem so lightly. He's a master. Azumo smiled faintly, although he seemed to praise Yifeng in his words. But there was disdain for Yifeng in his eyes. Captain Aizen, didn't you plan to frame Captain Hitsugaya at first? Why did you change it to Yekka's in the end? Ichimaru Silver asked with a smile. Silver. Is it in your eyes? Is there really a difference between the two of them? Azumo smiled faintly. Hitsugaya Toshiro is also good. Yamanaka Night Wind. Not enough to make Aizen really care. Because when picking ants, it doesn't matter which one you choose. Okay, then, Captain Aizen, what are we going to do next? Ichimaru Silver shrugged. Bro. You beep. Everyone else is ants. All are foils to spice up your plans. Is it right? Then just wait patiently. I still need to use this last bit of time to see if I can find something useful in the Great Spirit Book corridor. After saying that, Aizen stood up. He came out this time just to listen to Ichimaru Silver's report. Now that Akatsuki is known, naturally, it will not continue to waste time outside. Okay, I understand, then I'll have to wait and see the good show of the Hill of Two Scarlets. Ichimaru Silver chuckled. Night Wind, Kun. You must not let me down. If the second collapse jade is really taken away by Aizen, so I'm afraid he will really become invincible. Dot 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 dot. 3 days later. Early morning. A ray of morning sun shone through the window of the penitent palace on the immaculate white bodies of Matsumoto Ranju and Rukia. Yifeng was sitting on the sofa drinking wine, looking at the two girls who haven't woken up yet. There was a strange expression on his face. Last night, when Yifeng was discussing his life with them, he discovered a broken bee hidden outside the Palace of Penance. Through God's perspective, Yifeng could see the jealousy on Broken Bee's face and some undetectable special changes on his body. And Broken Bee's score in Yifeng's favorability system has also increased to 86 points. So, the progress is already clear. Yifeng also likes this kind of behavior that stirs up Broken Bee's emotions. So, last night, they are crazy. Yifeng believed that under this thorn level, once Broken Bee broke through the 87 points, her performance would definitely be very wild, even wilder than on the day of the Great Wilderness. A thought here. Yifeng took a few more sips of wine into his mouth. Life. Just so boring. Dot 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 dot. It didn't take long. Ranki Matsumoto and Rukia Kuchiki wake up together. Although last night was very happy. But today is Rukia's sentence. Yifeng, Luanju, I'm a sinner, you must not do anything stupid because of me, I don't want to implicate you. Rukia looked at them. She knew Yifeng wouldn't let her die on the hill of double death. But if Yifeng saves her, Yifeng will also become a sinner in the Soul Society, and Rukia doesn't want to involve Yifeng. Don't worry. There's going to be a big play today. Let's just sit and wait and watch the fun. Nightwind shrugged. Aizen will have a public showdown today. After today, Death's turning point is about to begin. Dot 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 dot. There was only an hour left before the execution time. Rukia changed into a white prison uniform. Led by the night wind, she walked out of the House of Penance. Seriously. Although Yifeng has been telling Rukia not to worry, things are not what she imagined, but Rukia is still somewhat nervous. After all, that's a double wreck. The destructive power of millions of Zanpakuto when it is released. Very horrible. Come to the hill of double death. Yifeng placed Rukia in the execution position. At this moment, the commander-in-chief, Yamamoto Moto Ryusai Shigekuni, has been waiting here for a long time. Follow the rules. When a prisoner is about to be executed by double execution, all captains and vice-captains should be present. But the current situation of Seraiti is very special. First, Aizen was killed after being invaded by Calamity. So, most of the captains and vice-captains stick to their posts to avoid further trouble. In this case, naturally, it was also more convenient for Aizen to capture the Bengu. Everything is proceeding in an orderly manner according to Aizen's plan. Half an hour before execution, Broken Bee, Ujawali, and Kimura Zojun finally came to the hill of Shuangsheng. Today, Broken Bee is uncharacteristically. She actually took the initiative to walk in front of Yifeng. Yifeng, isn't it uncomfortable to see the woman you like die in front of you? Broken Bee asked flatly. How could it be? I won't watch my woman die in front of me. Yifeng smiled slightly. Cut. Broken Bee pouted. There was a hint of jealousy in his eyes. Chapter 537 Double Liberation. This is the hill of double death. In addition to me, there are 3 captains present, and the captain is also there. Don't you think you can save Rukia in front of them? Broken Bee shook his head deeply. In Broken Bee's view, if Yifeng really intends to save Rukia, so, before that, he should have a lot of chances. After all, Rukia was imprisoned in the Palace of Confession that Yifeng was in charge of. But it's all up to now. Broken Bee believes that there is no chance of any further turnaround. In the future, oh no, you will know what will happen later, just wait patiently. Dot 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 dot. Rukia knelt before the execution stand. Death is near. She felt more and more calm. Rukia has not had a happy life. Good luck. She met Yifeng at the last moment. At this time, Aizen Soyusuk has also walked out of the Great Spirit Book corridor. He had a strange smile on his face. Captain Aizen, Ichigo Kurosaki has cultivated, Bankai. He is rushing to the hill of Shuangshou. Do you want me to stop him so that he does not destroy Shuangshou? Ichimaru Silver stood behind Aizen with a smile. In these days, Aizen Soyusuk basically put all his energy on the Great Spirit Book corridor. Ichimaru Silver is responsible for monitoring the outside world for him. So, Ichimaru Silver already knew that Kurosaki Ichigo practiced Bankai. Have to say, Bankai, and Master, Bankai, in such a short period of time. Ichigo Kurosaki is indeed a genius. It's okay, Silver, I've found another technique. It can make it easier for me to take out the Bengyu from Rukia's soul, but unfortunately we know this too late, otherwise, let's take a good captain's game. Maybe you can play for a while longer. Quote. Azumo smiled faintly. Not long ago, Aizen found another technique developed by Kazuki Urahara in the corridor of the Great Spirit Book. Through this technique, you don't need to use the double scorpion, you can easily take out the scorpion jade from Rukia's body. It's a pity that Aizen knew it too late. Otherwise, with the camouflage ability of Jinghuashuiyu, there are countless opportunities for Aizen to go directly to the Repentance Palace to take the Bengyu out of Rukia's body. Thus, he doesn't have to show up. You can continue to do a lot of things in the Soul Society. But it's a bit late though. But the master has this technique, and it can also effectively avoid the problem that the collapsed jade cannot be taken out due to the situation of the double scorpion. In general, this technique is still very useful for blue dyeing. Aizen is not a person who will worry about gains and losses. He wouldn't feel disappointed because he knew it was a step too late. Ah, it seems that the Great Spirit Book corridor is really a good place. Unfortunately, only Captain Aizen can find information there, neither Captain Dongxian nor I can. Ichimaru Silver shrugged with a smile. In this 100 years, Ichimaru Silver and Tosen Kazuya also went to the Great Spirit Book corridor many times with Aizen. But, as is the case with most Reaper, it is very difficult to get information from the Great Spirit Book corridor. Even useless information. Ordinary gods of death cannot be seen. From this point of view, Aizen is definitely someone who has been favored by destiny. Come on, Silver, it's time for a perfect end to this game. The Hill of Double Death. Time ticks by. Yifeng has always opened the perspective of God, observing every move in the Seraiti. He had already observed the small movements of Kurosaki Ichigo, Yukatake Shuru, and Aizen Sosuke. Everything is playing out according to the script. Finally, execution time has come. Yamamoto Yuanyugai Shigekuni raised his eyes slightly. Let the cold breeze blow his long beard. Everyone. The execution time of the sinner Kuchiki Rukia has come. Next. The old man will open the double death. Captain Yamamoto's voice fell. The yak on the hill of Shuangsheng suddenly became silent. The atmosphere is quite dignified. After all, it has been a long time since the corpse and soul world has executed the punishment of double death. Katsuki Rukia, what else do you want to tell the old man? Yamamoto Motoyanagi Saijokuni is also not an absolutely ruthless person. Before Rukia died, he was still going to give Rukia a chance to leave a last word. Rukia lowered her eyes calm as water. She was silent for a moment. Raised his head. Captain. I know that the guilt I committed is unforgivable, and I have no objection to the verdict of the Central 46th Room. But Ichigo and the others are friends I made in this world. For a friend who has known each other for less than a month, they can come to the Soul Realm and take risks. They are by no means bad people. I hope the captain can release them after they are captured. Pass them. Although Rukia and Ichigo have not known each other for a long time. But, in the dark, the friendship they developed with each other was very deep. So, Rukia didn't want Ichigo to have an accident with them. Hear Rukia's last request. Yamamoto Yuanyugai Shigekuni was silent for a little while. Yes. Although they were in trouble, and although they caused chaos to Saraiti, so far, they have not killed any of the Shinigami. So, if it can finally be proved that the death of Captain Aizen also has nothing to do with them, then, the old man can grant you this last request. To be honest, although the old man Yamamoto seems cold-blooded, but he is also a man of love. Just like what Rukia said. A group of children in this world, for the sake of a Rukia who had known each other for less than a month, took the risk of crossing the border and entering the Saraiti. A man who can work hard for his friends. Not inherently bad. Not to mention. So far, judging from the information passed from each division to the first division, the travel disaster begins with the invasion. Although they defeated many death warriors. But they didn't kill anyone. Their goals are simple. Just want to save people. So, as long as Aizen wasn't killed by Kurosaki Ichigo and his gang. So, it's not impossible to let them go. Thank you, Captain. Rukia smiled reassuringly. Then, next, Yamamoto Yuanianyu Saijigekuni recited the chant in his mouth. Double smashed open Shikai release. And at the same time, Yifeng's mind also issued a system prompt. Ding. It is detected that the host has arrived at the Hill of Twin Deaths. Detected that Shikai has been opened. Ding. The pre-sign-in for this mission has been completed. Please continue to work hard. Chapter 538 Night Wind Shot. Look at the energy fluctuations rising from the double spear. Yifeng's eyes narrowed slightly. He has already grasped the ghost. Although Yifeng had already seen Ichigo Kurosaki and Shuru Yukitaki who were coming from the Eye of the Soul. But judging from the Night Wind's point of view, there's a good chance they won't catch up. Perhaps this is some of the influence the Night Wind has on this world. The butterfly effect tends to be just that. Some seemingly inconspicuous things have changed other seemingly inconspicuous things. But the end result was abysmal. Yefeng, don't be impulsive. Shuangshan has been liberated, you can't stop it. Broken Bee stood beside Yefeng and reminded him with a dignified expression. But Yifeng didn't pay any attention to Broken Bee. The double torture must be stopped. If not, Rukia will die here in vain. Boom. Shuangshan finally completed the liberation. One after another, the blue spiritual pressure energy fluctuations gathered together. It's like a monstrous divine flame. Under the stimulation of this divine flame, Shuangshan finally revealed its true form. Its body is a huge flame bird. Named the King of Destruction. This is the true form of the double spear, and it is also the final executor of this capital punishment. When it penetrates the body of the sinner, the capital punishment will be over. Yamamoto Yuan Luzai Shigekuni said slowly. At this moment, the captains and vice-captains present felt the heat wave emanating from the King of Destruction. The expressions are very solemn. Captain, this big bird is worthy of the destructive power that claims to have millions of Zanpakuto. It's really fierce. Omaeda stood beside Broken Bee. Under the pressure caused by the King of Destruction, he even forgot the snacks in his hand. Have eaten. Shut up for me. Broken Bee scolded Omaeda coldly. At this moment, Broken Bee's attention was all on Yifeng. So what big bird and little bird do you care about? Boom. Under the blazing fire, the entire Hill of Two Deaths turned into a sea of red yuhi. Rukia turned her head sideways and narrowed her eyes, unable to see the surrounding scene at all. But she was still trying hard to open her eyes. She wanted to watch Yifeng again. But That blazing light obviously wouldn't give Rukia such a chance. This moment, Rukia felt despair deep in her heart. Not only Yifeng's last glance could not be seen. Even her elder brother Kuchiki Byakuya never appeared. Her life can only be a sigh. ... Finally, the King of Destruction opened his wings and fluttered a hurricane, making the fire even more turbulent. Then, it made a long beep. He rushed in the direction of Rukia. And right now, noisy. There seemed to be countless birds singing in the sky. A majestic thunderstorm suddenly appeared. It condensed a large thunder net in front of Rukia. The King of Destruction pounced on Lei Wang. In an instant, it was enveloped by lightning. Thunder net tightened. Blazing lightning covered the flames of the Destroyer King. Two equally majestic spiritual pressures collided on the hill of Shuangsheng, creating terrifying energy fluctuations. Dancing wildly in the sky. But obviously, the power of the night wind is even better. The flame on King Destroyer was gradually being consumed by thunder. What's the matter? Broken Bee looked at the arc jumping on Yifeng's palm. Surprise appeared on his face. The blue electric arc flashed in Yifeng's palm. One after another spiritual pressure is being transported to the large net of thunder and lightning in the sky. Obviously, Yifeng finally made his move. Actually, that is, between a few breaths. The thunderstorm had completely wiped out the flames on King Destroyer's body. The heat wave on the Hill of Two Deaths disappeared. Thunder also gradually fell. The entire Hill of Two Deaths became silent again. Night breeze. You are so stupid. Rukia looked at the gentle smile on Yifeng's face. Mixed feelings in my heart. Under these circumstances, Yifeng can still save her. This naturally made Rukia feel very moved. But she is a sinner. Doesn't Yifeng's action mean that he will also become a sinner? There are so many captains there. How could Yifeng escape? Rukia cannot care about her own life and death, but she can't care about Yifeng's life and death. Yamanaka Night Wind. Do you know what you just did? Captain Yamamoto's face was gloomy. He looked at Yifeng with a sullen look on his face. To be frank, Old Man Yamamoto values Yifeng very much. He hopes that Yifeng will become the mainstay of Gotei 13 in the future, Jinchuriki column. However, it was such a person who had such high hopes for him to actually do such a thing on the hill of Shuangsheng. Unforgivable. Deputy Captain Yifeng, you obstructed the punishment of double death in public. It seems that the relationship between you and Rukia is already very deep. Uzumaki sighed. She really did not expect things to develop to this point. Yamanaka Yekas, you are so disappointing to everyone. The captain trusts you so much, but you chose to betray us. Komamura left Zanpakuto pulled out and was ready to fight. At this moment, swords were drawn on the hill of Shuangsheng. A war is about to happen. However, at this time, Sefenjin Yaiki also arrived here with Kurosaki Ichigo. Cut, it looks like you have taken all my limelight away, Yamanaka Yekas. Ichigo Kurosaki, who was behind Bankai, landed on Rukia's side indifferently. Although he was hammered twice by Yifeng. But, seeing that Yifeng saved Rukia's sake, Ichigo decided to forgive Yifeng. Ichigo, what's your situation? Rukia looked at Kurosaki Ichigo in black with a surprised look on her face. This is my Bankai. I have finally cultivated Bankai in these 3 days. Ichigo smiled lightly, rescued Rukia from the torture platform, and said lightly, Rukia, don't worry, having mastered the ultimate power of death, I can definitely save you. Quote. Obviously. As the son of luck in the plane of death. Ichigo Kurosaki's appearance immediately caught the attention of most people. It's like having a spotlight. Very conspicuous. Yichi of Saifengyuan, I didn't expect you to dare to appear in front of me. You traitor. Seeing Yaiki who came with Ichigo Kurosaki, the sadness over the years suddenly flooded into his heart. Hee hee, long time no see, little broken bee, I feel like you have grown up, you have grown from a girl to a woman. Yi Yi smiled lightly. But these words of encouragement made Broken Bee's pupils shrink sharply. Depend on. I have this thing. Is it so obvious? Why can you see it at night? Chapter 539 Eisen Showdown. Finally. With the presence of Yukitaki Shuru and Kyoraku Chunsui. The whole scene was completely chaotic. Captain Fuju, leader of the Jing band, you guys are too slow. If you could come earlier, I probably wouldn't need my help. Nightwind shrugged. Originally. They are the protagonists. Yifeng just wanted to play Chan. Did not expect. Teammates are too weak. A wry smile appeared on Shiro Yukitaki's face. What he was holding in his hand was a divine weapon borrowed from Saifeng Yuan. They were going to use it to save Rukia. Did not expect. They were so late. It even pushed Yifeng to the cusp of the storm. It's really too embarrassing. Captain, the situation seems to have become more complicated. Tiger Toru Yangyan stood beside Ujiwali and quietly pulled the corner of Sister Lahua's clothes. Yangyan, stop talking, the old man is going to run wild soon, wait for the opportunity to act. With a smile on his face, Maujawali quietly instructed Tiger Toru Yangyan. Originally. Everyone just thinks that traveling in disaster is very emotional, so they will not hesitate to sneak into Saraiti to save Rukia. But did not expect. Yifeng actually betrayed the Soul Society to save Kuchiki Rukia because of emotional reasons. And now. Even veteran captains like Shuru Yukitaki and Chunsui Jingle, the direct disciples of Captain Yamamoto, even risked betraying the Soul Society to save Rukia. Where the hell is this Rukia? From a woman's point of view. Just normal. Do all men like this now? Miss Hua was confused. That's it. The atmosphere on the Hill of Two Deaths became more and more strange. Finally. Yamamoto Motoyanagi Saijokuni could no longer tolerate it. He slammed the cane in his hand to the ground. Boom. A loud bang seemed to hit everyone's heart. And at the same time, a terrifying coercion as if it was real began to spread from the body of old man Yamamoto to all around. Reason. Who can give me a reason? The old man Yamamoto was very angry. Also very disappointed. Yifeng betrayed, that's all. After all, Yifeng is a newcomer. Even if old man Yamamoto is more optimistic about Yifeng, the relationship between him and Yifeng is not deep. But Jingle Chunsui and Yukitaki Shuru is different. That's a lover who grew up watching him grow up. Are you going to betray him? Mr. Genryujai, actually, we all have reasons. Please calm down first. Shiro Yukitaki smiled wryly and shook his head. Speak. What's the reason? Then. Kyoraku Chunsui and Yukitaki Shiruro publicly told what Yaiki told them. The cause and effect are clearly explained. Although it sounds like a fantasy. But logic is flawless. Humph. If it's what you say. So far. If Aizen Soyusuke is not dead, he should show up too, right? But what about the others? Yamamoto Yuanyugai Shigekuni's face was gloomy. Cold eyes swept across Shuru Yukitaki and Chunsui Jingle. Obviously. He doesn't believe it. In the end. Urahara Kazuki and Sefenjin Yaiki are nothing more than two sinners exiled by the Soul Society. And now. Not only did they not want to repent. Even rumors are deceiving. Let Shuru Yukitaki and Chunsui Jingle also do such a rebellious thing. He simply regretted letting them leave the Soul Realm. They should have been killed directly at that time. At this time. Yifeng suddenly smiled and said, actually, Lanran Suo Yusuke has come a long time ago, it's just that you haven't been able to see them. Yifeng's voice fell. He flicked his finger. An arc leapt out. Rushed to a seemingly uninhabited place. Subsequently. That ray of arc seems to have encountered something in the void. Disappeared without a trace. Then. There was a round of applause. Night Wind, Kun. What you have done today is really wonderful, I am very amazed, and you did not disappoint me. A faint voice fell. Where the arc disappears. There was an invisible ripple. Immediately after, the ripples dissipated. Aizen Sosuke appeared in front of everyone with Ichimaru Silver. Aizen. You really didn't die. This moment. The smile on Azuki's face finally disappeared. These days, Uno Hanaritsu has been carefully examining Aizen's corpse. She had always felt that there was something wrong with Aizen's corpse. But she couldn't even tell what the problem was. But Ujawali did not suspect that this was Aizen's suspended animation. She just thought that maybe the murderer had touched Aizen's body. And now. First, he heard about the earth-shattering conspiracy from Shuru Yukitaki's mouth. I saw Aizen appear again. Ujawali suddenly felt that the soul world had been ridiculous over the years. He has always regarded an old hidden as the biggest good man in the soul world. Yefeng, you already knew about Aizen, so you chose to rescue Rukia. Broken Bee gave Yefeng a meaningful look. So what if I know? What if I don't know? Anyway, Rukia is already my woman, and I will never watch her get killed. Yifeng smiled, looked at Broken Bee and said, of course, if it were you, I would do the same. Although at this moment, the atmosphere on the hill of Shuangsheng was dignified. But Broken Bee heard Yifeng's words. Heartbeat suddenly accelerated. If it was me who was dying. Will he be desperate to save me? He. What kind of person is he? Also at this moment, Broken Bee's favorability rating for Yifeng finally broke through 87 points. But Yifeng doesn't have time to enjoy anything right now. Aizen Sosuke. Is it really like what the floating bamboo said? The initiator of what happened 100 years ago. You too. This moment. Yamamoto Motoyanagi Saigakuni has largely believed what Yukitaki Shuru said. After all, if the blue dye is no problem, why did he create suspended animation and put the blame on Yifeng? So, there must be something wrong with the blue dye. But if things are really as Yukitaki Shuru said, so the captains who had the accident back then were all wronged. And he Yamamoto Yuan Lu Saiju, who has always claimed to be the patron saint of the soul world. It has been used by Aizen all the time. This is simply a great shame. Yamamoto Yuanyujai heavy country. Things have gotten to where they are now. You still ask such a question. With a mind like yours, it's no wonder you have to obey that kind of thing. Azumo smiled faintly. The figure suddenly disappeared in place. Chapter 540_careless. Next moment. Aizen appeared in front of Rukia. Have to say. Although Aizen has always acted like a harmless old man. But he did it. Shocked everyone. Even Yi and Broken Bee had to admit it. Aizen's shunpo is far superior to them. Aizen, don't get close to Rukia. Ichigo Kurosaki was right next to Rukia. When he saw Aizen suddenly appear, he instantly waved the Skylock Zanyu and slashed at Aizen. But this seemingly fierce operation was blocked by Aizen with one finger. Ichigo. You can't hit me with your current knife. Because you don't hate me enough. A knife without hatred is like an eagle without wings. So, can you be quiet for a while? Aizen's voice fell. There was also a touching smile on the corner of his mouth. He flicked his fingers. It was as if the booger had just been buttoned and then popped out. The male protagonist, Ichigo Kurosaki, was blasted out with a bang like a cannonball. Rukia saw such a scene happening in front of her. Immediately shocked. Before. Rukia thinks, Bankai, is the most amazing move. Only the captain-level masters standing at the top of the Soul Society can use it. But since she met Yifeng, Rukia felt that her understanding of Bankai had been changed unknowingly. Bankai, Renji was instantly captured by Yifeng. Bankai, Ichigo was killed by Aizen. Is Bankai so worthless now? Are you serious? But the enemy is now. Rukia didn't have time to think so much. Captain Aizen, what do you want? I don't want to do it, I just want to run through your heart, from the depths of your soul, and take something that works for me, just like now. Aizen said with a smile. At the same time, he launched a look back at Rukia. Really? Aizen easily took out the broken jade made by Urahara Kazuki from Rukia's body. This collapsing jade was created by Urahara Kazuki using a large number of virtual souls. The Aizen one was created using the soul of the god of death. If the two collapsing jade can be fused. So, after the fusion, Benyu will have the power beyond the god of death and the virtual. In Aizen's view, that kind of collapsed jade is the top power in this world. Of course. The Quincy was cleaned up by old man Yamamoto Huohuo. Otherwise, then use the soul of a large number of quenchers to create a collapsing jade. That would be perfect. At this time, Aizen pinched the Benyu at his fingertips. Enjoy it in the sun. It was wonderful. Subsequently, he glanced at Shiruro Yukitaki and Chunshui Jingle again, and said lightly. The two captains, it seems that when Urahara Kazuki told you his plan, he didn't tell you about the collapsed jade, otherwise, you would not be so calm, just like the knight over there. Like a lady. Heard. Everyone glanced in the direction of Siphon Yuan Yei. As expected. Siphon Yuan Yei's face showed an extremely panicked look. Benyu was taken away. So, there is a good chance that their plan will fail. Are you asking what it is? What does it do? Why should I reveal my identity to get it? Then, since you asked sincerely in your heart, I'll tell you with great mercy. Aizen pinched the collapsed jade. I'm about to show off my knowledge. But at this time, a Hayate flashed by. A Zanpakuto that suddenly stretched out from Aizen's hand and pushed the collapsing jade out. But Benyu was robbed. Aizen's face still did not show any panic. There was a smile on his mouth. High-speed Shunpo starts again. Have to say, even Yifeng could only admit it. At this distance, Yifeng's ultimate Shunbu also couldn't have obtained the collapsing jade on Gusha's blade before Aizen. However, since Benyu is connected to Yifeng's knife, so Yifeng can directly transfer the collapsed jade to the system space through Guiche, and save it. Aizen appeared in the original position of the collapsed jade. When I grabbed it, I caught a loneliness. Collapsing jade disappeared. Such a result finally revealed a trace of surprise on Aizen's face. Blue dye. Do you know what it's called? This is called, knowing that you are a villain, you shouldn't talk so much. Yifeng took back the ghost. Looking at Aizen Soyusuke with a smile. Actually, Yifeng can also understand Aizen. A lonely villain like him. Once the picture is poor, of course, you will have to install a wave. Otherwise, how boring would it be if it was just seconds? The previous scenes are also very important. Interesting. It's fun. Not only does your Zanpakuto possess the power of lightning and ice, but it can also expand and contract like Ichimaru Silver's spear. If you think about it carefully, it's really scary. Although Aizen said it was terrible. But there was no trace of nervousness on his face. Because, in a place like the Hill of Twin Deaths, of Yamamoto Motoyanagi Saijokuni could not possibly be Benkai. Otherwise, it would cause irreparable damage to the entire Seraiti. So, under this premise, no one in the soul world can truly pose a threat to Aizen. Blue dye. Stop pretending, you've failed. Since the collapsing jade in Rukia's body has already fallen into my hands, it is absolutely impossible for you to take it back. Yifeng shook his head. He knew that Aizen was a guy who liked to pretend. So, Yifeng said it very directly. He didn't want to give Aizen another chance to pretend. Oh. Is it absolutely impossible to take it back? Night Wind, Kun. There's a truth you might want to know. That is, nothing in this world is absolutely impossible. So, can you give me Benyu now? After all, it would be very ugly for the ants to look like they were dying. I don't want to see you look like that. Done. Aizen took off the glasses on the bridge of her nose. Push your fingers hard. It smashed into pieces with a snap. Then, he brushed his right hand on the bangs. The original flowing and supple hair as light hairspray turned into a very sharp look. So far, Aizen's temperament has changed. From a good guy to a hero. See this scene. Yifeng couldn't help shaking his head. Have a look. What is a villain? People's arrogance is higher than ours. I can't accept it. To this, Yifeng, who can't pretend to be forceful, decided to defend his forceful style with practical actions. In a flash, the night wind disappeared in an instant. At the same time, the blade crossed. The ghost was like a black moon kiba, slashing towards Aizen's neck. But, face such an attack. Aizen is like Tiansuo Zanyu who just dealt with Kurosaki Ichigo. There was a smile in the corners of his eyes. Extend a finger. The blade that blocked the night wind. Then, puff. Knife into the meat. A streak of blood spurted out. In Aizen's surprised eyes,